Oh, no. Got to hit play. Not yet.
I'll start.
For the things we could talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. And the Pat McAfee Show begins right now. We have to address some things first before we get into the sports news of the day. Last night, this mask that I am holding in my hand and I made quite a ripple in the wrestling community. Myself, Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch, the NXT Tag Team Champions. Sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling community. Can't wait to see how this all plays out. Can't wait to watch it unfold. Can't wait to tell the wrestling community that they're the worst humans on the planet, which I will do on a very regular basis on a run here. Obviously, very thankful to be back with the NXT family, the greatest sports entertainment professional wrestling brand going on earth right now. And I was a guy who was potentially a part of some things behind the scenes. We will dive into that as the day goes on and as the weeks go on. But for now, we have to tell you that tonight on NFL Network and Fox, there is a football game happening in the city of brotherly love. The Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz, without Zach Ertz, who was placed on IR today, their stud tight end, will be playing host to Joe Judge in the New York Football Giants. Ooh. The NFC East is obviously one that has been embattled with talented football all season. Bunch of people losing everywhere. Bunch of games being lost in ugly fashions. Teams getting demolished and blown out on prime time games. But it is still up for grabs, and literally any NFC East team could win the NFC East. Will tonight be the night that Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles turn it around? They have a 1-4-1 record right now, and Doug Peterson said that's where we should be. What if they go on a run and win 3 games? They will win the NFC East and grab a hold of that thing. And what if the New York Giants, with Joe Judge and his new regime in training camp, they were sprawling on fumbles, the crowd was going wild, Saquon Barkley gets hurt very, very, very early in the season, and now they're trying to pick up the scraps. Oh, Danny Dimes is now a comfortable, mature quarterback. He's no longer just a rookie quarterback. Will he be able to rattle off a couple wins here and take a hold of the NFC East? Or will tonight be a perfect picture of not only the year 2020, but the 2020 NFL season for the NFC East and be a complete shit show? Nobody knows. That's why I am pumped for tonight's NFC East Mega Bowl. Woo! Yeah. Oh. The Philadelphia Eagles are favored by 4.5 points at the moment, playing host to the New York Giants, and nobody has a clue what the hell is going to happen out there. We'll talk about that with Darius Butler here in a few hours. He has a lock on an over-under for pass yards tonight's game, which might be the best bet of the night because nobody knows what teams are going to show up on either side. We'll also be joined by Dwight Freeney in about 19 minutes. Dwight Freeney, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure, a guy who's an absolute legend, former teammate of mine, and he's doing some work with Madden, I believe. We'll ask him if he's fixing a franchise mode or what he's got going on. He was a video game-like player to watch. It was awesome to be teammates with him. Super cool dude. Like, one of the nicest superstars of all time. Now, granted, he had a much different diet than everybody else. He was eating very expensive foods. He was drinking very expensive waters. His house was awesome. I was invited over there a few times. He picked me up, or had his limo come pick me up one night whenever there was a card game and I didn't have a car and I was potentially intoxicated.
Nice
We're
guy.
talking about absolute gentleman. He was my cornhole partner in the locker room more than a few times for more than a few $1,000s at games. I mean, Dwight Freeney is a good dude. Cannot wait to have a conversation with him. Haven't chatted with him in a while. Be excited to hear his takes on the 2020 NFL season and everything happening. Also, there's a lot of moves happening around the NFL today. We'll talk with all the boys and hopefully your phone calls at 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Anton Diggs, you made a very disappointing announcement this morning on your Twitter account. Would we like to address that now, or is it too soon, pal?
I can address it now.
Go ahead.
I'm officially retiring from the giving fantasy football advice game.
No! What? Unbelievable.
Why?
Well, I showed my expertise when we had that guy on the one time.
That guy. Tony. Matthew Berry, the guy that started fantasy football. Basically.
Oh, is that his name?
Well, that is his name, and you wouldn't know that because probably whenever he was introducing himself, you'd cut him off and say, Matthew Berry. Yeah, we know. Well, that's what you were doing with the fantasy football talk.
It depends on. I don't put him up on a pedestal like a lot of people do.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ, Tony.
I thought you were retiring.
Tony is my fantasy football competitor, okay?
Oh, so
Not anymore.
You're retired.
You're retired. Oh, you still got a little bit. Still got a little bit of it.
But after I showcased my chops, you get a lot of requests. You get a lot of questions. And it was keeping me up at night because I live by this theory that if I can't help everyone, I shouldn't be helping anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, superhero complex.
That's real, dude.
So I'm just going to step aside and let some of the other guys.
So how about Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb tonight?
Can't.
Or
Sorry,
this
Zeke.
weekend?
I'm retired.
Wow, not even friends. Damn. So it's not even like the public fantasy football era is.
I would help a friend.
Whoa.
Tony,
calm down. My God. Matthew Berry can get it.
Yeah.
Zito can
I'm
get
in a
it.
bad mood.
Yesterday, Juju got it, and all of TikTok got it. Tony's team is playing better than everybody else in football almost at this point. Life should be as good as possible. Just got married. I mean, he looks good. He's losing weight.
Hell's this guy's problem?
He is just sawing everybody down. And in a retirement speech that I didn't know if we should bring up, you heard me earlier, like, is it too soon to talk about it or not? I thought he was going to potentially be happy about the run that he won on. About how people got a chance to respect his fantasy football advice.
Helped a lot of people.
But instead, it was like, no, this guy stinks. Fuck him. He's out. That's this. Tone, is everything okay over there?
No, the Ravens got better today.
Oh, you want to dive right into some news?
No, I'm just saying when the Ravens get better, I get worse.
So you just pivoted. That's smart, by the way, because you were starting to look a little bad there. But now that we'll talk about other stuff that you're good at Boston Connor here. Ty Schmidt is here. Viva Lazito is here. Viva Lazito, your poll real quick.
Yes, who are we hammering for tonight's NFC East Mega Bowl? Giants are down 30.6%. Eagles 69.4%.
Okay, so everybody likes the Eagles minus 4.5, even after the news of Zach Ertz going on IR, who's one of his main targets throughout the past couple years here. How will that all play out? They do have Deshaun Jackson back, I believe, which is good news for them, but not Alshon Jeffrey. Diggs, you have some news?
Well, yeah, not just Ertz. Malik Jackson's out. Alshon Jeffrey is out. Miles Sanders is out tonight. Jack Driscoll, the tackle, is out tonight. Obviously, Dallas Goedert's still in the IR. A bunch of the Eagles are a walking IR.
So we're hammering the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the interesting thing here is that Gumpy had nukes yesterday, and he said Carson Wentz, 4-0 against the spread and 4-0 straight up on Thursday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles wearing all black. 6-0 leading into this game. So that is 10-0 like odds and records and stats that we have shoved down our face saying that the Eagles should win tonight. And normally I like to go with the Gumpy nukes, right? I like to know why I think the way I do. But if you're just reading off that entire IR list there, this doesn't feel like a standard Carson Wentz season either. This is a much different Carson Wentz. So you would think that the potential ratio that one loss would have to come could potentially be this game. Then when you talk about the all black uniforms, like, listen, I'm a big fan of it. I like it a lot, especially Thursday night with a little color rush. I mean, they're going to look great out there. It just, will that be able to carry them enough? And is 6-0 really, really good? And at some point, even the Mamba Lakers jerseys lost.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like
right.
at some point, a jersey is going to lose. Is that tonight? I'm starting to lean that way, especially with all the injuries that the Philadelphia Eagles have. But boy, It's hard to pick this one. That's why all the prop bets are the ones to really attack. Speaking of NFL news, though, with everybody being injured, there's not an injury, but there has been some movement here. Yannick Ngakoue, who was formerly of the Jacksonville Jaguars, he got into a battle with Tony Khan, I do believe, on Twitter at one point about wanting to be traded. He gets moved out of town with 1 year left on his deal to the Minnesota Vikings. With the Minnesota Vikings, he has 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The Minnesota Vikings are 1-5, and they just traded him this morning. Yannick Ngakoue, thanks for coming. How you doing? Keep it moving. He is headed over to the Baltimore Ravens, who also have his former teammate in Jacksonville, Calais Campbell. Calais, unlike Yannick Ngakoue, did not want to leave Jacksonville. He found out via call that he was gone. He thought he was potentially going to live the rest of his life down in Jacksonville, get his ass out of here because this is Gardner Minshew's team. Now Yannick Ngakoue joins Calais Campbell and a defensive line that is great. I mean, good. Great. I mean, the Steelers' defensive line in the AFC North, unbelievable. Now, the Baltimore Ravens' defensive line is loaded. Wow. You got Matt Judon out there. Matt Judon once told me he was going to put a beam on me for something I tweeted, but watching him play football, unbelievable. Derek Wolfe, stud. Patrick Queen, obviously an inside linebacker from LSU. Another team could have got him. Baltimore Ravens got him in the second round. Congrats to them. Yannick Ngakoue, obviously, Brandon Williams, LJ Ford, and they have obviously one of the best secondaries in the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens, I think, got better today. It wasn't like Yannick Ngakoue got traded to Minnesota and sucked. 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. That's a pretty hot start to a season that is 6 weeks into this thing. And also, $6.8 million in dead cap is being held over at the Minnesota Vikings. And the Baltimore Ravens only have to pay like $4 or $5 million or something like that for him. So I don't know how the Minnesota Vikings got into this situation or out of this situation in the particular fashion that they did. But the Baltimore Ravens, I think, won this one, especially if he's immediately going to make their team better. And as you alluded to earlier, they did. They got better today. But are they going to be able to keep up with that Pittsburgh Steelers defense? That's an interesting question. And you got to feel for Joey Burrow, okay? You got to feel for Baker Mayfield. You have 2 defenses in the AFC North that seem like probably the next, I don't know, at least 3 years are going to be stacked, very tough at the top of the division. We'll see what they got. We'll see how it goes. You have to hate this move by the Ravens.
I do, but a part of me loves it too because I love the rivalry so much. Like I have goosebumps because like last year sucked because we went into Baltimore and I knew there was no chance with Mason or Duck. Quack, quack, quack.
Quack, quack, quack.
Rest in peace, Quack.
Rest in peace.
He's not dead, but you.
But it feels like it does like a few years ago when they would be highlighted. They would always be the Sunday night football game. This year they're back on Thanksgiving as the Sunday night football game. Like, it's going to be awesome. They did get better.
There used to be cool things like down Station Square down there where they would, not Station Square, maybe South Side, where they would dress a car up like a Baltimore Raven. And people would come down, stop by, grab a bat, hit the car, and then walk away.
I love that.
That was the type of rivalry that Pittsburgh and Baltimore was. It wasn't like we hate you humans like Cleveland and Pittsburgh. It was like, hey, it's going to be a fight. Who wants to come take a swing at these motherfuckers with a bat and a car on Station Square? At Nick Morado, what's going on?
Well, there was actual mutual respect there because the Ravens would play and they'd actually win games, and the Steelers would play and they'd actually win games. They'd go into each other's stadiums, trade blows, win games, battle each other in divisional round of the playoffs, everything. In Cleveland, it's the classic bug in the windshield situation.
Yeah,
So
you're talking about
hear it.
Yeah, a lot of talking. You're saying not a lot of action. Speaking of talking, is Baker Mayfield getting buried this week? Too much. He played the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and I think whenever history will talk about this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I think it will reflect a very, very, very dominant defense. And everybody's turned on Baker, obviously, right? People have turned on Baker. Everybody that maybe hated Baker for a long time, the way he played football, or maybe the human that he is, or anything like that. Whenever they started out and they were playing good, they were winning, and he wasn't necessarily the guy making them win games. He was game managing, which every single quarterback does, other than I guess like 2 of them. But everybody you couldn't really bury him, right? They couldn't really bury him because they were winning games. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then they go into Pittsburgh, and he just gets pick 6 maybe on his like second pass, and then he gets demolished out there. And now the conversation is, should his star quarterback be traded because he's not good enough to maybe make him a better player? And then is everything burning? Is he going to be able to be the Cleveland Browns quarterback going forward with a new GM? That was all. Everybody was just waiting to say all that shit. And then as soon as the Pittsburgh Steelers defense did what they did to Baker Mayfield, it was like, well, here comes onslaught, bing. And Odell Beckham Jr. gets into it with the Yinzer. Everybody's like, well, he should be professional, and they're losing. And it's like, have you ever heard of Yinzer talk shit? Like, it is potentially something that is very easy to see how he would be like, oh, how about fuck you, pal? Okay, because I would assume said Yinzer said something despicable, if I had to guess. By the way, proud and lucky to be from there. You know, it hardens the skin a bit. But I could see how a professional athlete who is a competitive person could hear a Yinzer say something to him, even if you're winning or losing, and just supposed to act like he doesn't hear him right there. It's what, there's 7,500 people in the crowd? You can definitely hear what that person's saying. And then he responds, they're like, well, Odell's not happy. Odell doesn't care. The quarterback isn't good enough. Baker stinks. It's like, is this too much? He's going against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is unbelievable. Or is this just something that's going to be real life in AFC North because now the Ravens also have the same type of defense with the addition of another weapon on the defensive line?
It's kind of like force of habit, though, right? The Browns lose. Oh, Baker threw a pick six. Okay, let's get them the hell out of town. Let's blow up the entire team. They're terrible. I think it's just these past 15 years, that's all you got to talk about is how you need to blow up the Browns whenever they lose.
I don't know how, and this is, I feel like what I just said there, by the way, proves that I feel like I have not been somebody that has buried Baker Mayfield.
No,
you haven't.
You had the Browns winning the division last year.
No, last year, yeah, not this year. Come on, I didn't buy the hype this year. Last year I did, and who knew that Lamar Jackson was going to be able to do what Lamar Jackson did last year? I mean, I should have, I guess. You know what? I actually should have. I think I've stuck up for Baker Mayfield because I know how hard it is to be an NFL quarterback, first of all. It's like not an easy thing to do, especially whenever there's a lot of turnover and who's this and that. It's not like Baker Mayfield was set up. By the way, Dwayne Haskins kind of getting in the same. It wasn't like Baker Mayfield was set up for success, right? No. Now, granted, that's going to happen when you're the number one overall pick, though. You're going to go to a bad team. So all those people talking about Trevor Lawrence saying, oh, I don't want to go to the Jets. I don't want to do this. It's like, if you're going to be the number one, Trevor Lawrence is going to a bad team. Like, no team that is good is like, okay, you know what? We need a brand new quarterback that's a rookie, and we're going to get the number one overall. Like, that's not going to fucking happen, you know? So I think with Baker, he landed in an organization that is historically terrible, in a situation that was on fire. They already fired a coach or two. The entire thing, I was like, you know, he hasn't really been given a fair shake. But that doesn't mean that I don't think he's got no shot getting an extension there. Like, you know what I mean? Like with the new GM, new coach, new everything, new investment in the offensive line and in the running back, potential Odell Beckham being traded. Nobody knows if that's actually happening or if that's just all smoke at this point. But I don't think Baker Mayfield's quarterback going forward. I don't think that's the case. But now Baker, it's like, is Baker the quarterback for anybody in the NFL? And I think he'll get another shot, but who knows? I mean, he's playing for a career right now, which everybody is. But in that particular organization, too, if they continue to rely on the run, why, if you're Andrew Berry, new GM who didn't draft Baker, why would you want to give him a larger deal when you can just get a rookie contract and just be able to continue to build around him and potentially win in a city in an organization that just can't fucking do it and hasn't won in a long, long time?
Well, and it ultimately just doesn't matter unless they win, right? Like all this outside noise, like he can say he doesn't give a damn what anyone says, but like this is the classic part of the Browns season where like now the adversity's starting to come in, everyone's starting to shit on him again. Like if they actually play well down the stretch, he probably will get another opportunity. But, like, you know, they're not going to make the playoffs in that division, so. He
did come out and say that all the outside noise doesn't matter. He doesn't give a damn. They get paid to talk, us. And he and his team get paid to go to work.
That's right.
Hey, great answer, by the way.
Great answer.
Great answer by old Baker Mayfield.
Can't get the doors blown off this week, though.
Well, who are they playing?
I think
they play the Bengals.
Yeah.
So they better win.
So
Here we go.
3.5 point favorites.
Oh, all right, 20 minutes into the first hour here. We got Dwight Freeney on the other side. I wonder if that game's going to show up on my thing tomorrow on Hammer Down.
Ooh. Whoa.
I really like I'm not saying it.
Some good lines this week. Oh, my God.
Who's that?
I was going to say I like the Bengals, but I don't think I do. If they're going to play like they did the first quarter and a half against the Indianapolis, like I have to watch my What Have You Done For Me Lately?
Yes.
Because I just saw Joe Burrow play football better than any human on earth, and then it turned quickly whenever the Colts defense just started just pounding him again.
We also can't forget the Steelers are the best team in the AFC.
And we also have to remember that Myles Garrett is still on that defensive line.
Yep. True.
And if we've seen any lowlights of Joe Burrow, it's him getting his head taken off, which, by the way, Myles Garrett has almost done in the past.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe I've just completely turned to the Browns there. I don't know. That's going to be something we'll talk about tomorrow on Hammer Down. Today, we'll talk to Dwight Freeney on the other side of the break here. Also, your phone calls, 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. All right. Go to the bathroom. This is bad show. You said in the interview that you would add an extra finger to your scotch drink or whatever. A finger is just what? Just one finger this way or this way?
Yeah, like this, bro.
So did you do 4 on Sunday? You did a full fucking glass?
It was a long night. We didn't get home. I didn't get home till like 11:40.
Look at how much scotch that is. Is that what you did?
It's not that much.
That's 4 fingers, dude. You said you normally do 3. That's 4 right there.
But you have those fat sausages.
Okay.
It hasn't been cordial over the years between me and Sue. You know, we've had some battles over the years. I think I mentioned it. He got frozen feet and didn't realize he was stepping on my calf. He also stomped on one of my teammates at one point. I was under the impression that we were going to have a conversation after the game. And there might have been some loss in translation, whether or not he was talking about the, see you at the bus conversation. Oh. I thought it seemed more like, hey, let's have a little, come to Jesus moment. I was looking for that conversation. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't think it was going to, look, I'm not going to play number 2.
Do you think it was the 3 pumps that potentially got you into deep shit with the football gods, Aaron?
You, of all people, a man who is celebrated as much as anybody at your position, you must realize, whether necessary or unnecessary, the celebrations have no correlation in that sense.
You needed a kick in the ass. Do you just think everybody was getting kind of too comfortable and had a bye week and had a chance to soak it in? Hey, we're very, very good. Is that what you meant by that?
I mean, I think we all need that a little bit. When the complacency starts to sink in and you start kind of feeling yourself a little bit, it's always good to kind of get knocked down. And I think it can be a good thing. I'm not saying, look, nobody wants to lose to fucking figure things out. Great teams have consistent habits. And so we got to keep doing the things that got us to 4-0 in order to get back to where we want to be.
Here, here, huh?
Yeah.
Here, here. Attaboy, Aaron!
I know you were an extra in Game of Thrones. I wanted to get your opinion on how you think the show ended.
So I think many of us were disappointed and confused by the ending.
Which one were you? Do you know which one you were yet?
The guy running duck-footed heel first with his arms splaying all about.
Yeah, no cakes. Weak jaw turned into the alley. Was that you?
I think that guy's related to AJ somehow.
Oh, shit!
It's these clouds that come and go, but we'll make it through, I know. Oh, I know. Got a pop top, we can drop it down, take a ride on the way now. We are young, feels good, let go, get down the way now. Got a pop top, we can drop it down, take a ride on the way now. My mama told me one day a love like you would own me. 'Cause my mama told me one day a love like you would own me. Don't leave me lonely. 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 Don't leave me lonely.
You do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Welcome back to that show. It is Thursday, October 22nd, 2020, here on Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Joining us now is a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's going to happen. Super Bowl champion, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, sacks leader in 2004. He's part of an all-decade team, Defensive Player of the Year in 2005, and his name and number have been retired for the Indianapolis. Well, not retired. I don't know if they retire numbers. They should. He's in the Colts Hall of Fame. You get it. Ladies and gentlemen, Dwight Freeney.
What's up, Pat? How are you?
Hey, I want to let you know, the gray beard looks amazing. It looks like you look like an established gentleman right now.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I said, we're in a pandemic, right? So I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go and see where it goes. But it gets kind of scary when you see the gray hairs. All right? You don't realize how old you are until you get the gray hairs. I know I'm not old to some people, but the NFL family, I am old.
I don't want to ask you how old you are, obviously, because I don't want to dive into that. How long did you How long did you end up playing in the NFL? Because I know you bounce around and still put on great years at the end there.
Yeah, I played 16 years.
All right, so 16 years at defensive end, outside linebacker, some people try to move you to, which is a bad idea. Yeah, bad idea. Whenever you hear, if you were playing, that an entire offensive line for a team got sent home like a day or two before the game, like what has happened with the Oakland Raiders. So their tackle, Trent Brown, I guess he had a positive case, so they sent him. And then contact tracing to the rest of the offensive line. They just sent everybody home for 2 days. Is that something that you feel you would definitely be able to take advantage of, or is that not that big of a deal, you think, to offensive linemen?
I mean, I think it would be huge advantages for a defensive lineman. You know, we look throughout the week, Pat, to see who's up and who's down for that week. Okay, we all know that practice matters. You know, some people say practice doesn't matter. It definitely matters, especially when you're playing, you know, maybe a special type of offense or defense. You have to prepare a certain way from a timing perspective. But offensive linemen need to get out there and get their reps. So if a whole offensive lineman, the whole offensive line is sitting down for practice, I'm licking my chops.
Just going out there to eat, I'd assume.
Oh, goodness.
If you look at that Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line, TJ Watt has become explosive off the outside. Bud Dupree's like 275, running like a 4.4 or something like that. Yep. Is that a defensive line that you watch and you're just like, damn, this is magical? Because they're all competing. You got Cam Hayward inside. They're all competing for sacks. It was like you and Mathis back in the day. Everybody out there is trying to eat. That has to be beautiful for something like you to watch.
No, absolutely. You know, the thing is, you know, when things are humming and things are going, you know, that's what you want from a defensive front, defensive line, defense, period. So, you know, you go over there in Pittsburgh, Blitzburg, whatever you want to call them, you know, Steel Curtain, you know, I don't know. But when they get after that quarterback, they are a completely different team, man. And those boys up front, you know, little young Watt brother, TJ, he is a beast, man. He's going to be good for a long time. I don't know if he's been stealing tricks from his brother, but he is going to be a force to be reckoned with, man. He comes and he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played, you know, with a tremendous amount of intensity, and he plays with great leverage. And, man, he gets after it. I love it.
Whenever you and Robert used to meet at the quarterback, sometimes literally hitting each other, was that the goal every single play, I'd assume? Like, hey, I'll meet you at the quarter. Is that kind of like the goal for
it? Is. You know how it is, man. Hey, meet you back there at the quarterback. And that's just what it is. It is a race to get back there, all right? Because I know if I don't get there in under 3 seconds, Robert going to steal my sack. So I know it was, you know, vice versa on the other side. So it literally was a race, man. I swear, between me and him, he's taken 20 sacks away from me. I've taken 20 sacks away from him. We always we laugh about it. But when you have another guy like that playing next to you, man, and you're going at, you know, who cares? If I happen to hit him and he happen to hit me, as long as the quarterback's in between, creating that nice little sandwich, that's all that matters to me, right?
There's a couple defensive linemen that are changing the game, obviously, this year. Myles Garrett is one of them. Welcome back. He just got broken off. He is strip sacking right now like you guys used to on a rapid rate. And then Yannick Ngakoue just got traded from the Minnesota Vikings over to the Baltimore Ravens. He has 5 sacks, I think 2 forced fumbles on the season. He was obviously at the Jacksonville Jaguars, then to the Vikings. Now he's at the Ravens or anything like that. Whenever you are having a year like that, 5 sacks, 2. He's on his way to potentially be a sack leader, by the way. With the rate that he's in, 6 weeks in, you're getting one almost every single week. He's going to have to pick it up. Chandler Jones, I think, had like 77 last year. It was some outrageous number, but he's on his way. Whenever you go into a game, does it matter what team you're on if you're a pass rusher, or is it something you can just get dropped into any scheme? Like, will he be able to just pick up right where he left off with Minnesota whenever he lands in Baltimore?
Well, it depends. It really does depend on how much freedom that defensive line, defensive coordinator, head coach gives your pass rusher. All right, so for a guy like me, all right, if I wasn't allowed to make an inside move, which people know for me is that spin move that I did, some defenses don't like that. They frown against that and say, hey, you know what? You're losing contain. You're doing all these things, which would hurt me as a pass rusher. All right. Now, I've been lucky enough to the places where I've gone. They have allowed me to go ahead and be me and do me. Okay. So it may have been a little bit different for me. I don't know how it's going to be for Yannick. I don't know if they're going to allow him to do certain things, but I do know when you have skills to get after that quarterback, you're going to find a way to get to him. All right. And he's had a tremendous start. He has 5 sacks. I can't even believe he got traded. You know, I think it's kind of disrespectful, to be quite honest. But
absolutely,
in the end, I think he's going to show, the whole NFL and definitely the Vikings that was a mistake to get rid of him.
I guess that is where he wanted to go. I guess he's from Maryland. He always wanted to be a Raven. So I don't know if he potentially asked for it or if they did it, whatever the case. I don't know how it plays out. Whenever you're rushing, and I think I've asked you this before, but there's probably a lot more people listening that maybe didn't get a chance to hear that. Whenever you're setting up a game plan as a defense or outside linebacker or a defensive end, it's not as easy as just like, okay, I'm going to run and you're playing chess out there with that tackle. It is literally a chess match. And I don't think I had any respect for that until I watched you, Mathis, and the guys work. It's like there's setup moves. There's everything happening throughout the entire game. It is a 4-quarter chess match that's happening between you and the tackle. And I don't think I recognized that until I watched you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this, I think if you just want to be average and just okay, you can just go out there, put your hand down on the ground and just hopefully you can push a guy and get a sack, or hopefully you're fast enough to run around a guy. But if you want to be an elite guy, all right, it really is something where it's like chess. It's kind of, you got to set things up, and you got to give him a little of this and a little bit of that to see how he reacts to it, and you have to give him a fastball. I always compare it to being a pitcher, right? You got to have a fastball, you have to have a changeup, and you have to have the curveball. You got to know when to throw those different pitches. Like in football, defensive end, D-line, you got to know when you want to throw a speed rush, a power rush, a spin, or whatever it is that you do to keep that offensive lineman off balance. So it really is something that is a game within the game, and you don't know it unless you know it, and I know it doesn't get highlighted enough, other positions, receivers and quarterbacks, touchdowns, but there is a game inside of the game from a defensive line perspective, and every guy who plays that position, I like to compare it to like how is Kung Fu, right? You got different styles. You got, you got snake, you got dragon style, you got all these different types of styles, right? And it doesn't matter what style you got, as long as your style works for you and you get there. And that's kind of how it is.
Hey, you keep your swing as long as it hits. Who cares? Exactly. Is that why? So are you setting somebody up? Because you always see there'll be end of the game, okay, 4th and 7. They have no timeouts left, minute 15 left, okay? They're obviously passing situation. And those seem to be the times that when you're prime time sack getters, that is when they make plays. It was almost like a guarantee whenever you and Mathis were on the field, okay? Yep. Here we go. 4th down, must have it play for the other team. Everybody knew this is going to be a sack. Like, it's coming. Is that because you have, like, one pitch, if we're going back to your pitching comparison, that you've been setting up maybe the entire game or is going to work? Or is it just because, hey, like, when the lights come on, the stars come out, you have to make a play?
I think it's a mixture of both, to be quite honest. I took tremendous pride to being a closer, when it, hey, I don't care. Give me a 3-point lead, 2-point lead, 1-point lead. I want the game to be on the line in the 4th quarter when me and our defense, Mathis, gets out there to close it for the team. All right, and that's the mentality that you have to have. But as far as what moves works and all of that stuff, it's been a constant probe throughout the entire game. You've been playing against that offensive tackle the entire game. That protection, the entire game. If you were paying attention, you would know kind of what they're doing to you or what has worked, so you know what to go back to or what they're going to expect you to do. So then you do opposites of what they expect you to do, or you just say, you know what, I'm going to throw my best pitch, good luck, and trying to hit it. And sometimes it is that way. All right, so when I go out in the fourth quarter, and I know, all right, I already know I have all this information in my mind saying, okay, I already know how he's adjusting to this. And it's just set up perfectly right now for this move, and then that's when I start bringing it to him. And then once he starts guessing on that move, then I take it away. Then all of a sudden I do something else. So I want his head literally spinning where he doesn't know what I'm about to do next. And he's crying for help from his guard, or looking at his quarterback saying, hey, get rid of this ball, or that's what I'm looking for, complete chaos in his mind.
It's fucking insane. Because you don't even think about it, and it was awesome. I mean, growing up in Pittsburgh, obviously there was dominant defenses, but when I get to the Colts, they're like, hey, just watch what these two do right here. Just watch these two off the edge. And you two were like two of the coolest dudes on the team too, which was awesome. So it was like a double whammy there. And just watching you go to work on somebody was just like the tackle. Chuck Pagano came to our team, and he said that offensive linemen would tell him, like, the week that they had to play 93 and 98, they would not sleep. Like, it was like an actual nightmare the entire week. And then all of a sudden, it's like in the game, when it matters, this guy who is stronger than you has eaten much better food than you have, for sure. Your diet was...
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been setting you up the entire... It was awesome to watch, dude. It was really, really cool. What's up, Dave?
Dwight, I was watching a video this weekend, and TJ Watt was going against a tackle, and he got chipped by the tight end, and the guard was going down onto the 3 technique. So the lane inside was absolutely wide open. But he didn't take it, though. He fought to get back outside. How hard is it? Because Baker obviously is not as good in the pocket as the outside. How hard is it when you see that open lane inside to have to remember, like, hey, I have outside contain, and not just...
Well, I think it's a little bit different, when you're a fan watching the game in real time for players. Real time, we don't see that opening. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got to know it's going to be there, more or less. It's happening too quick and too fast. All right, now, you have rules that you're supposed to abide by, and that's what I was saying, too, is based on your system. Will they allow you to take an inside move and quote-unquote, break contain, and go inside out of your rush lane? All right, so certain teams will allow you to just take whatever that offense gives you, okay? Other teams say, look, you got to fight back outside because I want you to keep the quarterback bottled in, or we have a blitz from the other side, so we want to make sure we're protected on the left side. All right. Now, for us, all those years, we had an amazing D-line coach, rest his soul, in John Turlink. We had a great defensive minded coach in Coach Dungy, who allowed us to do what we do, okay, and was aggressive from that perspective, from a defensive line, where it's, I don't care how you get there, just get there. And that's all I needed to hear, all right? So going back to TJ, I don't know, sometimes when that offensive tight end, right, that chips you on the outside, which I've gotten a tremendous amount of dosage of that in my career. I think actually the first time it's ever happened in the NFL history that I know of was against me versus the Patriots. They started motioning this tight end.
Of course, Belichick. Of course, Belichick was the first one to start chipping.
It was absolutely, because most times, Pat, prior to me, right, you would have running backs in the backfield, okay, and that would be primarily the double team or the chip block that you would get to impede your rush. All right, you go back in all the film, I have never seen. All right, and I had to ask my D-line coach, have you ever seen a protection like this, where you have a tight end lined up outside of you a yard off the ball and doesn't just release, he comes and impedes your rush and chips you? He said, no. This is something that, because of you and Mathis, this is why this is in the game, right?
That's awesome.
So now, I'm sorry, TJ, you got to deal with that. I'm sorry.
That's absolutely awesome. And the fact that it's Belichick just makes so much more sense, too, by the way. But how many times we got to get these fucking guys? Can we not just have him bang, just broom and run into him? What's up, Ty?
Dwight, when you watch games now, are there certain guys that you look at and you can tell, like, okay, this guy's probably watched a decent amount of my film, or like there are guys that really remind you of the way you played?
I think I see a little bit in Myles Garrett, to be quite honest with you.
I've seen you take somebody's helmet off and hit him with it.
Well, you know what? Other than that, like right there move, I'll let him keep that. All right, but even though there was times, Pat, I really felt like doing that. You know, I never actually did it. All right, but the thing is, I watch him, and I see a lot of similarities on how he gets skinny around the corner. He has a variety of moves that he likes to use. He likes to use an outside chop move, we call it, you know, where you chop the outside hand of that offensive tackle and you just bend, and then he likes to spin a little bit off of that. Now, he doesn't spin as much as I did, but I like to see he does use it. So I think out of all the guys right now that I'm watching, he's probably, you know, from the younger tier guys, he's one that I've always watched and said, you know what, he's been watching a little bit of me. Another guy, you know, Everson Griffin, you know, he used to be a guy when he was the Vikings, was a lot like me as far as using power and using the spin move.
Myles Garrett is wrecking games right now too. Last year he was too, until he, you know, played whack-a-mole with old buddy's head. But he was defensive player of the year. I mean, he was defensive player of the year candidate last year, and they were not a great team. And then this year, he is just a guy that is an absolute game wrecker. They got the Bengals this weekend. Joe Burrow has died on like 4 or 5 different occasions this year because of his offensive line just letting him get killed or hanging onto the ball too long. Myles Garrett's got to be thinking like, I am gonna just eat this weekend.
Yeah, and this is what's happening now, and he'll start seeing this more and more through his career, is that they're going to start dedicating 1, 2 guys, sliding the protection, game planning him as they game plan me in my career, you know, where all of a sudden that playbook, we talk about a playbook, an offensive, you know, game plan going into the game usually is thick like this, all right? Because you have all the options and this sweet play action pass, this flea flicker, all these great plays. But when you play a guy, you know, like how I was in my career, or now Myles, where he can dominate the game and in so many different ways, you're going to have to shrink that playbook down about like this. Because now all those plays, Pat, don't work. Because you got an X factor on the other side that will just destroy game plans and destroy that sweet play action pass, hold the ball for 5 seconds, double move by the receiver, all that other stuff. You got 3 seconds to throw the ball. If you don't throw that ball in 3 seconds, your quarterback's getting hurt.
Man, we're talking to Dwight Freeney, just legend of a defensive end. I was very lucky to be a teammate of his. Good guy. At Boston Carter, what do you got?
Mr. Freeney, sticking with the Bengals, it's being reported that Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap, a couple studs for them on the D-line, are upset with their lack of playing time. Has that ever happened to you? And if it has, what do you kind of do? Do you go to the coaches? Do you ask for a trade? What's kind of your response to that?
Well, it's tough. Unfortunately, this is something that is embedded in. If you play long enough, you are going to feel that. You're going to be affected by, I'm not playing enough. All right. So Geno's been in the league for a while now. I'm not exactly sure how long, but I know he was playing when I was playing. I don't know if he's 10 plus, but when you get over that 10 plus year, then it becomes, you know, conservation. Hey, let's just protect this guy so he doesn't get hurt. Dunlap probably the same way. I think he's above 10 years now, maybe, or getting close to it. So those coaches want to kind of protect from injury, maybe, you know, and kind of maybe train and get those younger guys going, because they understand that the future, truth be told, isn't those guys, right? And that hurts as an older guy, because you really believe and feel, and it might be true, that you can still dominate the game and still do what you've always have done. And that's what happened to me later on in my career, where, I felt like I was still able to do what I normally do. But the coaching staff and the GM and all those guys weren't allowing me the play time to do what I do, right? So I went from a starter, right, to a guy who was only a third down specialist. And that wasn't by my choice, right? Because for me, I wanted to be out there every down to have more impact on the game. So what happens is, if you get turned into a third down guy, what happens, the first thing that happens is your numbers go down, all right? So when your numbers go down, and then other teams look at your age and your numbers, they say, oh, he's not as good as he used to be. Look at, he only had 4 sacks. He only had 5 sacks. So now your numbers go down, your age is going up. That means your money's going down. All right? So now all of a sudden you can't make as much as you used to because you're not playing as much as you used to. And you can't argue with it because it makes it seem like, hey, this guy doesn't understand what team's about. Or it's more like, look at his age. We're just trying to protect you, Dwight, because you might get hurt. You're 100 years old. You might hurt yourself. We're
Gray
trying to
beard.
protect you.
Yeah.
You're saying? So it's like a double-edged sword. You can't win. So I've been there a bunch of times. I understand it. I feel for those guys. They just got to figure out a way to break through. And if they're unhappy and they're that unhappy, they may need to, talk to the general manager at some point after the end of the season and say, hey, I still want to play. I still want to get out there. And if they're not happy there, then maybe they can do something and go somewhere else and hopefully have an opportunity to play ball. But it's tough.
How do you feel about the modern age? A lot of people basically expressing their disgruntledness with where they're at and maybe trying to move or get somewhere else. It's very different. It wasn't like that back in the day, but it was not like that at all. Now I think with social media and the presence of the amount of reporters that know people and there's leaks and this, it feels like it's a very, very different league now than it was back in the day whenever you talk about a locker room setting.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think social media is probably the biggest culprit of helping guys get out of places where they're unhappy, all right? Guys have been unhappy on their teams for the history of the National Football League. It's not all of a sudden been this new thing, right? It's always been there. But now what happens is they have a voice, right? And they have a platform to where as though they can share how they really feel, okay? And now all of a sudden, other teams may get a sniff of that and other, maybe fans get a sniff of that. And all of a sudden, now it becomes, hey, you know what, I'm unhappy, and we're going to let the world know I'm unhappy, and then all of a sudden a trade happens or something like that. I don't know if it's, from an organizational standpoint, right, it may not be the best, right? Because you want to have control over all your pieces, right? You don't want those guys to be able to do anything. From a player perspective, it's actually really good. Because now you get an opportunity to let the world know and let teams know, hey, I am unhappy. Come get me, please.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of moves. I think it's only going to go up. Last couple questions here. Probably the last question here. And I can't thank you for your time enough here. I know you're probably a busy man. Last time we talked to you, you talked about golfing with Jordan. You've been on the Jordan team, I think, for like maybe 55 years at this point. Congrats on that. But you're friends with Michael Jordan, obviously. And whenever the Last Dance came out, obviously his golf game was talked about at a regular basis. So we asked you about the golf game, and you talked about golfing with him and how the golf is speed golf. It's awesome. It sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. But I know you're also a card player. Okay, I know you're also a card player. Have you ever played cards with him? And is he a good card player? I would assume he is a pretty solid card player.
Yeah, he's a shark. This guy is. I've never seen a guy so. There you go. I hadn't seen a guy so competitive on so many. It's like looking in the mirror, to be quite honest with you. And then maybe I got it from him. I don't know, but you know me, Pat. I don't care what we're doing. I don't care if it's cornhole. I don't care if it's shooting baskets into a trash can. I don't care what it is. I am giving 110%, and he is no different, man. It's like I'll play gin with him. Not the other day, I was playing gin with him, and it was like, I felt he was giving me the stare. I'm giving him the stare back. It's like completely silence, talking trash sometimes. It is something serious. It's like no different in the golf game. He is going for the win and for the kill, no matter what he's doing. And I gotta love him for that, because that's exactly kind of how I am. So it makes my days very interesting.
Oh my God, the thought of you guys just sitting in a room, cigars, I would assume, going. Gin, is that rummy? Is that the same game? Is that you're playing 500 there? Is that what gin is? What is?
Oh no, it's rummy and gin. Gin is a little bit different. It's an older game. Okay, let's just put it that way. There's no age. Here we go.
Freeney, you're doing something with Madden. What is going on? I'm pretty pumped that you're getting back involved with a lot of things. By the way, your name should be synonymous with the NFL. So the fact that you're getting back in with Madden, I'm pumped about, man. You're a legend in this whole thing. What do you got going on?
Pat, I've been so bored during this pandemic, man. All right, so for me, I'm in sitting around, can't do much. Sometimes I can go golfing, which is great. But I'll get text messages from time to time. And I got these guys talking trash. When are you going to pick up the sticks again? When are you going to play Madden again? I remember you used to be good. You ain't good. Yeah, so now I'm like, you know what? Y'all done talked me into doing something. So not too long ago, I was sitting around. Actually, I was on the golf course, and I got a phone call from a good friend. And he said, hey, how about let's start a Madden tournament? I said, that is a great idea. Actually, I just got text messages from my boy talking trash to me. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to set up a Madden tournament, right, with Gen Esports. All right, and I got Madden behind it. I got Brand Jordan behind it.
Jump in.
Some custom shoes. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get other sponsors involved, maybe some cash prizes. I'm going to set up tournaments, right, 4 times a year. All right, and you get a chance to display how good you really are.
That's what we're talking about.
Because I'm about tired of it, Pat. I said, you know what? You guys are talking trash, and we can't do nothing about it. Well, I'm going to build something so you can do something about that. So right now, I'm setting up, it's called Third and Long. All right, I had to bring back to what I love, right? Third and Long.
Absolutely.
And put on this Madden tournament for boys to go out there and show our skills.
Well, I feel like you're setting this up just so you can win 4 tournaments a year. Zito has a question for you about Jordan, though. This is a big deal.
And Mr. Freeney, can you ask Mr. Jordan if he could bring back the Jordan Eclipse shoes?
They are the best. They are the best Jordan. I have 5 pairs of them. They don't sell them anymore. And if he needs a white person to sell them, I will be that person.
All right, man, I got you, dog. I'm going to talk to him.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let him know, and I say I got Pat McAfee, my man, to wear that shoe for you.
Bingo.
Let's go.
Hey, I don't know how many Caucasians are on the Jordan team, but I would be gladly to join it. Ladies and gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Hey, thank you. Legendary Dwight Freeney.
We love you.
He's the man, dude. I just get watching him work was fucking unbelievable. It was just because he was shorter. Everybody out of Syracuse. Whenever Napoleon drafted him, a lot of people said he got a guy too small. He got a guy too small. And then he just took that as almost a chip on his shoulder, and he just became this stout, undersized for that position, but in real life, alpha human walking around. And he just was a problem, and he knew it. He knew it. They knew it, and there was just nothing. 60,000 fans knew it. Everybody knew what was happening. And then old Freeney was going in there, man. I loved Dwight Freeney as a team.
Bill Belichick had to create a whole different blocking scheme just to take care of the goddamn.
By the way, it just completely changed football. Just completely changed football. Bill Belichick yet again. Well, he had to cheat to win. It's also, maybe he's just the most innovative guy to ever fucking coach in the league at this point. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, when you see the tight end chip tonight, don't forget that's because Dwight Freeney was a little too good off the edge.
And that's because Bill Belichick was I'm tired of this guy. Why don't you spoil the shit out of your dog with BarkBox? 2 toys, 2 treats, and a chew. It starts as low as $22 a month for $60 worth of dog chews and toys. It's the best day of the month for our dogs, and when their BarkBox arrives, we feel like kings. My dogs just got their BarkBox 2 days ago. Got a new squeaky toy. I mean, it has been pretty active in the house. But the treat game that showed up this particular month made me look like Santa Claus, and my dogs call me a hero as opposed to normally my wife, which is always the hero.
Love that.
Because I am the Santa Claus with BarkBox.
Good for you.
Thank you. It's not an easy thing to do, by the way. because the wife, obviously Snow White, she wins over all the animals, including deer, fox, raccoon, outside the house. The dogs love me because of BarkBox, and I'm all about it. Join now and get a free extra toy in every single box. That's $60 worth of free toys. Sign up your pup and get unique toys and snacks, plus a free extra toy every single month. Tailored toys and treats shipped free every month. Start now and get $60 in free toys. Go to barkbox.com/Pat. Free toy in every box. It's the best. Hour one wrapping up here. Big thanks to Dwight Freeney. We'll be joined by Darius Butler next hour and your phone calls. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Go take a shit.
Those plane rides home from an away game, an away victory, are some of the best times I've ever had in my entire life. And it's all it's dudes at 35,000 feet with a terrible sound system because you have you have somebody's cell phone going into that over the plane. And it was just like it was like real happiness for a lot of people on that team. I don't think they experienced a lot of real happiness because of how focused they were on their jobs. There were a lot of older guys. So, like, their only moments of happiness, I think, were those flights home, like, after a big win. Like, genuine happiness. Their entire life was dedicated to football. So, all week, all they were thinking about was the game. And then that trip home, that, like, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it was like a moment for them just to completely, like, relax and not worry about next week or the past week, their family, nothing. We're at 35,000 feet, nobody else around us except for us. That is a real moment that I don't think a lot of people know about or appreciate, is the flights home from away victories are incredible. Absolutely incredible. Those are good times, man. Really good times. You got people singing. My favorite story is of an offensive lineman, and I won't say his name, but he was asked to sing, right? So if a rookie's asked to sing, like, you got to go sing. So he grabbed the microphone, and he didn't know that the owner's daughter just so happened to be on the team's plane, sitting up in the very front or in the very back. So they kind of have it off. So he kind of got comfortable in his current surrounding and didn't know about the entire surroundings. And he grabbed that thing, and he was not expected to sing a song. I fornicated 2 bad ladies at the same damn time. At the same damn time. At the same damn... And then he started feeling it because a lot of people were like, okay, yeah. Big white guy. Massive white guy. Nobody thought he was going to sing this song. So everybody starts, like, gassing him up. You know, he's like... I fornicated too. He started yelling into this thing. And then all of a sudden you see a little assistant from the front come waltzing back the aisle and grabbing the phone out of his hand. And he's like, what? Like, yelling at him while the thing's still on. So now the entire plane hears him yelling at this assistant. And he, like, puts the phone down, and we're all like, oh, no, like, no fun, all right. They're like, Carly Ursay's on this plane. We're like, oh. Everybody just puts their headphones on. Sits right back down. Just an hour and a half of silence. That kid thought he was getting cut immediately off the plane. And he did. And he did.
Patriots, -11. Hammer that thing as hard as you possibly can. I am a guy that moves lines with this bad boy. You know, me and this guy here, this hammer, we've been making money together for a long time. Super, maybe. You whip out your hammer and you swing it, not only like a windmill dunk, like a son of a bitch, but you swing that thing to try to break the button on the FanDuel thing, and you hammer the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They finally made its debut on ESPN, and I'm proud of this fucking office store hammer.
Hell yeah.
I like them all over Baylor. Go and hammer Okie State #1. Hammer the Red Wolves, +5.5, -14.5, and hammer -34.5 for... Oh!
The Pat McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Thursday, October 22nd, the day of the NFC East Mega Bowl between the Giants and the Eagles. Hour 2 kicks off right meow. Last hour we talked to Dwight Freeney, formerly of the Indianapolis Colts, then I believe of the Chargers, then I believe of the Falcons, then I'm not 100%
He ended
sure.
off with the Lions.
The Lions at one point, yeah, 16 years in the NFL, defensive
They
end,
ended his
absolute
career.
stud,
Lions killed Freeney.
absolute. I didn't know he ended at the Lions. That's tough.
That a lot of careers do.
Oh, so maybe that is maybe it's the Johnson Thanksgiving Freeney curse that's going on.
That's a stretch. He was great for the Lions. I was glad he was there.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
We are a live sports show, so we should have a sidebar of We've been talking all day about a lot of stuff. Tonight, the Giants take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles injury report is roughly 75 people deep on a 53-man roster. Zach Ertz, starting tight end. Who else, Diggs?
Malik Jackson out. Alshon Jeffrey out. Miles Sanders out. Jack Driscoll's tackle, he's out. And the safety, Kavon Wallace out.
And they're still 4.5-point favorites right now. I have no idea how or why, and this kind of makes me a little bit worried because it feels like, now I will let it be known that early in the season, I was on a big Giants kick. I was betting on the Giants. They hurt me, and then they helped me a little bit. It kind of evened out at the end. But I thought just because the way Joe Judge looked in that video from training camp when he slid on the fumble.
Oh, yeah. In the mud.
Okay, in the mud, and there was a hose, I think, and the team all jumped and rallied around him. And then you listen to that opening game where they said that Saquon Barkley and Danny Dimes said they've bought into the new culture, the new regime that he's bringing in, because the last 3 years, they were the worst football team on earth statistically, I guess, which is wild. I wouldn't have expected it to be the New York Giants. I would have thought it was another team. But now we're at a point where they haven't been able to really bring it together and play good football. Obviously, Saquon Barkley no longer there, but there's a lot of other reasons as well. In every single power rankings, which we don't really believe in, but we do judge the people who judge people in the power rankings, the Giants and the Jets are 31 and 32. That's just every single power ranking there is. So the number 31 team, the New York Giants, go into Philadelphia. And Philadelphia fans had a lot of high hopes for this year. High hopes for this year. In that NFC East, they still could potentially go and get it. But I feel like I'm leaning towards the Giants just strictly because of all these injuries for the Philadelphia Eagles. And all the stats say don't do it. Carson Wentz, 4-0. Going into Thursday night football games, both against the spread and straight up. Wow. But is that something that is powerful enough to be able to play with the Walking Dead on his squad? Ooh. This is just like last year. Carson Wentz at the end of the year last year, his team was just riddled with injuries. Didn't even know who was on the team, and he was just carrying them to victories at the end of the year. That's why Dan Orlovsky, who's a noted Carson Wentz fan, was flexing on everybody because he was winning these games in fantastic fashion. I went on Get Up and I said, I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles can make a run because they're so injured or whatever. I think it's going to be very tough, but I'm impressed with what they did. 2 weeks later, Dan Orlovsky gets on TV, grabs a trash bag with my name on a piece of paper and says, Pat McAfee said Carson Wentz is bad at football or whatever and throws my name in the trash. It was like, I never said that, okay? He never corrected that either. So I had an onslaught of Philadelphians, which, by the way, City of Brotherly Love, I guess. I don't know where that name came from. I got buried by all Philadelphia. I was like, I never said Carson Wentz wasn't good. I said you guys were injured. And they were still winning games, though. This year, much different story. This is a different Carson Wentz. Everybody is agreeing to it. It's not the guy that's just carrying the team to dubs. It's a guy who still has to carry the team, but isn't making all the plays that he was making at the end of the year last year that were magical and mesmerizing and honestly shouldn't have been happening to begin with, which is what a lot of people talked about. Now he's missing some throws. He's off a little bit. They got Jalen Hurts coming in. His package is kind of growing a little bit. What's going to happen there? They're incredibly injured. This feels like the Giants tonight. This feels like the Giants. Giants plus 4.5 is where I'm headed tonight.
To your point, I believe I saw a stat not too long ago that Carson Wentz has the most turnover-worthy plays in the NFL this season. So, like, he's getting sacked a lot. He's turning the ball over a lot. Danny Dimes ran for like 75 yards last week, and he looked lightning fast doing it. I mean, I like the Giants, and I might take a money line.
Hey, Gumpy, what's going on? Probably great odds on that right now.
The Eagles are getting Lane Johnson and Deshaun Jackson back tonight.
I was going to say that, but like Deshaun's been out all year. Like, how much is he going to be able to do tonight?
Well, just real quick, no factor in my head was like, oh, they're going to be able to get to Carson Wentz. Like, it wasn't like I thought their D-line was going to have just some magical game for the New York Giants. You know, I just thought that the Eagles would miss more opportunities than the Giants would, especially with new pieces. So I think Lane Johnson, great player, incredible human on the internet as well. Whenever I'm talking about who I'm picking, that wasn't factoring in. I was like, oh, Carson Wentz is going to be under pressure all night, under duress. Like, I never even thought about that. I just thought about this team's going to suck more than this team, I think, especially with all the injuries that are going on.
Boston Scott, though, does traditionally play out of his mind against the New York Football Giants.
True. Okay. What about Fulgham, too? I mean, we can go to Old Dominion University if you want. I mean, Fulgham is turning into a real player. They're showing highlights of him this morning, either on First Take or Get Up or whatever, from when he was at ODU, which I'm assuming is Old Dominion, by the way. I just saw the ODU on there. He was smoking those D7 kids in college. Yeah. Nobody could have guessed that he would have been able to do what he's doing in the NFL right now. He's really their only option at this point. Deshaun Jackson coming back is great news. But will Carson and Deshaun Jackson just pick up on the same page? Maybe. But I think this year, instead of Carson Wentz, is not on the same page really with many of anybody.
To your O-line thing, it could be a game where Wentz and Danny Dimes both get their asses beat because the Giants are number 12 in sack percentage and Philly is number 31 in protecting the quarterback. And then on the other side, the Giants are number 24 in protecting Danny Dimes and Philly's number 3 in the league at getting to the quarterback.
Okay, so that just offsets each other.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think that it could be something, which, by the way, I have said that I don't know all the things that I am referring to whenever I'm hammering a team. I'm a big field guy.
That's right. Listen, I'm on your side on that.
I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Nice prop to look for tonight, too, are Giants tight ends, notably Evan Ingram getting into the end zone. The Eagles are terrible at covering tight ends.
Okay, there's a Gumpy nuke right there from the back.
And Ty said
Fantasy
it, too.
Nick.
I mean, just wait. Don't let Danny Dimes get loose. If he gets outside the pocket, I mean, he might turn into Lamar Jackson.
He came back looking like Andrew Luck this year.
He did.
Yeah, from a physical standpoint, just jacked up. And he's, I mean, I think we've met him, right?
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
When he was coming out of college.
Out of Duke, right?
Yeah.
Super smart kid. He was very nice, quiet, reserved,
cordial,
but incredibly nice the entire thing. Didn't know how it was going to work in the NFL. Remember when he was drafted to the Giants, everybody said, why are they doing this? How does this work? I don't think this is just like Matt Stafford. He's on a team that's bad, and I don't think there's the general notion that he's a bad quarterback. Like Matt Stafford, for instance, he's on a team, an organization, by the way, might turn it around against Jacksonville Jaguars this past week. True. Matt Stafford swinging a sidearm ball for touchdowns. I mean, maybe the Lions go on a run here. Who knows? Maybe they could go win a Super Bowl. They could potentially win the next 7 games, says most Detroit Lions fans.
I mean, just look at the schedule.
Maybe they could do that. But historically here, it's been a bad franchise, and I don't think the overall narrative is that Matt Stafford's a bad quarterback.
Great quarterback.
Danny Dimes, I think, falls into that thing. Maybe tonight's the night old Danny Dimes does get loose. I wonder what his odds are to score a touchdown on a run, or what his rushing yards are.
Hammer him.
Yeah, they're going to hammer that, I believe. Let's get some phone calls here. Let's go to Drake in South Bend, home of Diggs. What's going on?
Hey, man, just wanted to ask a quick question. Do you think that the race to the first overall pick goes through an 0-16 team? And the other thing real quick, how do you think about Matt Ryan to the Cowboys and Julio Jones to the Patriots?
Matt Ryan's price tag is bigger than what they would have had to pay Dak, so I don't know if that's going to happen. He is owed $40 million next year. So... And I think we're the only ones that are saying this. And every time I say it, I'm not 100% sure if I'm right. And then we check it again, and it's like, no, you're right. It's $40 million next year. So if somebody's going to trade for Matt Ryan, they're also picking up a $40 million contract, and nobody knows what the salary cap's going to be next year. Now, granted, that might just take a percentage off of everybody's salary, so then you might disperse it over the next 10 years. I heard that conversation was happening, but I don't think any decision will be made until they figure out how much exactly the salary cap's going to go down and whose money's going to get taken from where. So who knows how that all plays out. But is Matt Ryan a guy that you're going to trade for?
that's at the end of his career.
No way.
With a $40 million price tag that's immediately going to gut punch your entire salary cap? I'm not sure. They were talking on TV, though, that Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, two big-time trade prospects or targets. I'm like, Julio, I completely understand.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody on earth is going to try to get Julio if they can afford him and whatever. Like, Julio going to any team right now, they're better. Immediately better. Oh, Julio goes to the Green Bay Pack, better. They're a better football
Exponential.
team. Julio goes to the New England Patriots. Oh, they're better.
Yeah.
Immediately. Julio goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, they're better. Any team that Julio goes to, they're better. Matt Ryan goes to a team. It's like, I watched him ball out last week against the Vikings. That was awesome to see. It was like a reinvigorated Matt Ryan. He was giving the ball to Julio, who we were just referring to like every other play. But I don't know who wants to pick up a $40 million cap hit. I'm not 100% sure that is anybody's narrative. And especially if you see the way people make these moves, that is like the first conversation is how much are they going to cost? 40 mil is a lot of fucking money right now for Matt Ryan.
Well, and the Cowboys, they won one game with Dak. Like, do you think Matt Ryan's going to go in there and light a fire under everyone's ass? You think he's better than Dak? Like, I don't think so.
I mean, would you rather trade for Matt Ryan right now or Ryan Fitzpatrick? That's the real question.
And Ryan Fitzmagic, I think his contract's up after this year, so you'll be able to sign him probably $8-9 million next year.
He
might play for free.
I think he is making $8 million this year. Julio.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you give me Fitzmagic right now. No offense to Matt Ryan, okay? Your resume is a good one, okay? You won the MVP. But if we're talking about, let me look at this human as a football player to make my football team better with how much it's going to fuck me over on the backside. I just don't know why anybody would be trading for Matt Ryan and $40 million. But I have been told by Falcons fans that I'm not fair to Matt Ryan the way I speak about him. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong in this entire
Julio.
$40 fucking million?
Yeah, exactly.
That's more than Patrick Mahomes is making next year. That's more than Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. That's more than anybody's making next year. It's more than Russell Wilson's making next year, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's more than a lot of humans. Now, granted, maybe Matt Ryan will restructure his contract or whatever to get out of Atlanta. But if you're Matt Ryan and you know your best days are behind you, why would you cut off $15 to $20 million, legitimately $20 million potentially off of your contract? You wouldn't. You would never do that if you were Matt Ryan.
He's actually the second highest paid quarterback next behind Ben Roethlisberger.
Wow.
Jesus.
That's a gut punch.
And then Rodgers is third.
So why is everybody like, oh, he's going to get traded? It's like, who? Who is going to trade for? Who is going to take that on? And that's no disrespect to Matt. I don't mean this as disrespect to Matt Ryan, the person, or anything like that, but just the quarterback. Who the fuck is going to take on a $40 million cap hit with that guy? Nobody. I don't think anybody. And I mean that with all due respect.
Yeah, and especially with a new GM and a new head coach coming in. I mean, they're going to cut his ass.
Well, no, they're not. They're not going to be able to.
They can't. What, $40 million dead as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
The Falcons are set up for failure right
now. Yeah, they're looking for Arch Manning, I'm pretty sure, is who they're scouting in the next
potentially bring in the sophomore Arch Manning, who's the nephew of Peyton and Eli, whenever they finally get out of cap-strapped struggle because of Matt Ryan 3 years ago. I think it's $100 million is owed to him or something like that. And that might have been a number we made up one day that we were just guessing. But I think it's like $100 million is owed to Matt Ryan within the next few years. So the Falcons have a new head coach, okay? They have a new head coach, new GM in next season. But said GM and new head coach, and we've talked about this, they probably have a vision for what they would want their team to look like. Okay, this is what I want our defense to be known for. Okay, we're going to eat on the defensive line, all right? Or, this is what our identity is going to be. We're going to be a ball hawks, bunch of ball hawks back there. We're going to sit into the same coverage like Legion. Whatever your vision is for the offense. Oh, we're going to be a team that airs it out. Okay, we're going to be a team that throws it. Okay, maybe that's a team and a GM that says, like, all right, we'll keep with Matt Ryan. But what if the GM's like, oh, I see the success that Lamar has had, Kyler has had, Patrick Mahomes has had whenever they run it. I've seen Joey Burrow be able to do some of it. Also, Danny Dimes has been running a lot. What if he just notices Dak Prescott can run a little? What if he just is the GM that says, you know what, this is what I want my team to look like. I would like to have an athlete at quarterback who can sling the rock because it feels like that's the way the game's going. He can't. That new GM can't, or she. He or she cannot do that. New head coach, he or she cannot do that because if they're doing it, now you're a GM for the first time and you're playing with a $40 million handicap amongst everybody else in the NFC South that their teams are already made, by the way, for the next guy. It's just, they're in a bad position right now. And I would assume it's because Fashion God Dimitrov set Matt Ryan up with that contract, dude.
Yeah, but if they get the second pick, they have to take Justin Fields. Right?
Atlanta kid, you have to.
Have to.
But then what? You just got to play with $40 million in dead cap sitting there? You have to, I guess.
Yeah, they're just crippled for the next 5 years because of Matt Ryan.
That's got to be frustrating if you're a Falcons fan staring down the barrel of that.
Wouldn't that? So on the other hand, Julio is the second highest paid wide receiver for the next 3 years, which Julio being number 2 paid wide receiver for the next 3 years is much better than Matt Ryan being the number 2 paid quarterback for the next whatever years. But since that much is tied up in Julio and Matt Ryan, don't you think maybe they will try to trade Julio?
I think Julio is potentially
because they probably do have to get rid of cap somewhere.
I think the Julio trade is a real one. I think that is one that they will try to do. Julio, by the way, and he's very happy at the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's very happy at the Atlanta Falcons. Just a couple years ago, though, he literally unfollowed and took everything from the Atlanta Falcons off of his social media pages, which, by the way, might sound like childish or whatever, but that is quite a statement, okay? And I assume they renegotiated the deal and he has money, he's happy, okay, cool with that. But if you're Julio Jones and you know that, there's a chance that you could go win somewhere right now that would want you, I think he'd be open to it. It's like, would Arthur Blank be open to trading Julio Jones, who has been a staple of greatness for that Falcons team for a long time right now? You ask a lot of people who the best wide receiver in the NFL is. Anybody who plays the game, it feels like everybody says, oh, Julio Jones is the guy. Yeah, he's faster, he runs better routes, he catches everybody. You just don't know because the Atlanta Falcons are never in contention anymore. It's just one of those things. So, it'd be awesome to see him go somewhere, but who knows if he wants to, if the Falcons want to, or if any of that will happen.
I would imagine he definitely wants to get out of town, but do you think the asking price for him will still be as high as it ever was?
I don't know. Maybe what's he getting paid next year? Do we know what Julio Jones' salary is for next year? Is he under contract? And what is a normal wide receiver contract? I think we need to find the denominator.
See, once you find the denominator.
We need to see, because maybe he'll be willing to renegotiate. If it's a couple $1 million, maybe he'll be willing to renegotiate. Because we got to remember, next year's salary cap, we don't know what it is. So who knows? Who knows how this
If you're Julio, though, right? You got there and they were bad. You were part of the rebuild, got them to the Super Bowl. And now do you want to, go back to a rebuild with the Falcons, or do you want to go try and win somewhere else? You got to want to leave.
Imagine if he went to the Green Bay Packers. Oh. They would never, because that's NFC.
That would be awesome.
But imagine if Aaron Rodgers had Devontae Adams, Lazard, Big Bob Tunyon, Jamal, Aaron Jones in the backfield, and Julio Jones on the other side. Oh,
someone's going to be open.
Yeah, somebody's going to be open.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Packers would never do it.
No, ever. But
hey, Jordan Love can run a go though.
Maybe put him.
Can he? He can.
Give him the 11 jersey.
Let's get to a break here. 19 minutes into the show. I saw something happen on Twitter where a guy named Samuel Brown, RBT, who I believe is a very accomplished YouTuber, he posted that he was coming on our show today.
Oh, is that right?
Huh?
And I saw it on thing, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't know if that's just a troll thing or whatever. Allegedly, he literally thought he was coming on the show. He just tweeted that somebody from our show reached out to him. I don't know who that was.
There's a message here saying it's from me, and it's a green bubble saying I have not an iPhone. And it says, this is Zito from Pat McAfee Show. We were just going
he
over.
got
He got trolled by somebody.
So now they're coming after us. Like, yo, we ain't the fuck. It's not us.
No.
We are so sorry. I saw him put that out there, and I was like, cool, he's probably cooking something up. I didn't know, and I don't have a relationship like that to reach out to him and be like, yo, what's going on? So he got catfished by somebody with a green text message. He should know.
Should have been the first thing.
Come on, man.
iPhone office, Bo.
Come on, man. We'll have him on the show sometime, though. Just want to let you know. But right now is not the right time to have you on. We just had fucking Dwight Freeney on, dude. I apologize. And that's not really our show. We got Darius Butler coming on here for Locks. I would love to talk to you, though, man. It was not us, though. I apologize that you got caught up in that. That's not cool, by the way. I hope you find out who that was. And if you want us to help, we'll help you go ahead and bury that son of a bitch.
We should call Nev.
But I don't like, we should maybe call Nev. But I don't like that we're getting thrown under the bus for this.
Oh, and you give him a number to call.
Bro, you got, bro. That happens, okay? And we're going to help you get the person that got you. And you're going to get yours more than you get got, though. But in this particular case, you got here. So don't be coming after us, pal.
No. Take your medicine.
It happens to all of us, by the way.
It does.
Of course. You should have seen the girl that Zito thought he was dating 2 years ago.
Oh, don't get me started.
He was awesome.
It's unbelievable.
Zito?
All right, we got to get to a break. 21 minutes into the show. We got Darius on the other side, and then also some phone calls. We got a lock, and then AJ Hawks joining us in the third hour, obviously. Then Hammer Don's coming at 3:30.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I think that great conversation today. I'm pumped about it. 1-888 Mad Dog 6. Here we are. Sirius XM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. This is Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, October 22nd.
Last night I was roaming around Canal and Bourbon, and it was a lot of purple. And when you get that Mercedes-Benz Dome, and it starts getting loud and it gets rompous, obviously, not only for momentum and swings like that it can help, but for the defensive line to get a jump. I think that is a big deal. A lot of freak athletes on the field, and kickers are a spectacle no matter what happens. Whenever you're in those high-pressure moments, you normally fall back on your fundamentals. You normally fall back on your technique. You try to take your brain out of it. Cade York hits a beautiful ball.
One person at one party.
And think about him warming up right now. There's just three dudes in suits breaking down every single move he makes during his warm-up. What a wild scene here for Trevor Lawrence.
Quarterback, number 9, Joe Burrow.
You're supposed to be some draft expert, and you say Joe Burrow was a 5th-round draft pick before this year. Now he's number 1 overall. What do you know? What do you know, Todd? Tim, you are so handsome, it's ridiculous. What do you think has been happening in this first quarter? Why has Joe Burrow been stumped by this Clemson defense?
I think Brent Venables is the best DC in the country, and it's honestly not a shock to me. He did this to Tua last year.
Odell Beckham just stopped by.
Odell's very excited.
Odell's happy with the 52-yard attempt coming from the kid from Clemson. I've seen Odell make this with a spinning ball. And B.T. Potter puts it through from 52 in Odell's. In your face. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't in your face. You weren't looking at it.
That's a career high for B.T. Potter.
Bro, imagine Joe Burrow just having to stand in there and know that Isaiah Simmons is scot-free right in your suckle. That's a bad call. No chance Alberto Riverrod would turn that over. He was in the Buccos organization.
I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us. I love it. The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Welcome back. Thursday, October 22nd. Lucky to be here. Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. CEO? Oh. President? Oh. Somebody very high up at Sirius did an interview. Jim Meyer, I believe is his name.
Jamie.
Yeah, he talked about their recent extension. That's not his name, by the way. I think it's Jim, but
CEO.
Jim, the CEO. Perfect. He gave an interview about the recent $120 million a year deal he gave to Howard Stern and everything like that. Gave us a shout out in there.
Really?
Oh, Mr. Meyer.
In the entire thing.
Jim.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Big Jim.
He said we signed Kevin Hart to something. We got LeBron James and Maverick Carter.
Wow.
And also Pat McAfee we signed. I was like, well, one of these things is not like the other when it comes to level of being able to be spoke about, but I want to let you know, thanks for it. Lucky to be here. Fucking love Sirius.
Good company to be in.
Place is awesome.
He's a good guy. We met him at the
Indy 500.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Really good guy. Like, has a personality, too, for a CEO. Like, CEOs normally robots of humans.
Corporate stooges.
Normally.
Yep.
But this particular one, no. And there are a few, obviously, that are awesome. I think hopefully that is going to be the wave of the future, I think. But normally, with the olds that I have met in that particular position, they suck.
Yeah.
Guy, great personality. Made me laugh a few times. I actually had a couple pops in there.
There we go.
I like this guy.
Here we go, Jim.
Now he's shouting us out in big articles. Hey, look at us.
I love it.
Hey, look at us. Who would have thought? Not us.
Hey, look at you.
Wow. Joining us now is a man who was not mentioned.
Sorry.
That's tough. Host of the Man to Man podcast, 9-year NFL vet, ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler.
Good hat.
Let's go. That's a great hat.
Come on, guys. You couldn't put me in the article? What's up? Article, I don't show up in the ring anymore. What the hell?
Oh!
I got to get my pinky. I know what it is.
Do you got one?
Yeah, I got to get my pinkies right.
Do you have one?
No, I don't. I don't own a pinky ring.
Smart, by the way. Hey, heavy is the hand that wears the pinky ring. You know what I mean? Heavy is the hand that wears the pinky ring. Let's talk about tonight's Mega Bowl of the NFC East. Thursday night football, the New York Football Giants travel down to the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's hope and pray to God that there's no flyover to piss off Joe Buck or Troy Aikman. But once the football gets started, how do you see it going, Darius? How do you see everything going there?
I see the Eagles finding a way to win. I just feel like they're going to find a way. As far as
really,
they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way. I'm going to take the Eagles. D-Jack is back. Lane Johnson's back. Obviously missing a ton of guys. Missing Ertz. Missing Miles Sanders, still Alshon Jeffrey's out. A lot of guys banged up, but I still feel like they find a way to get this win over the Giants. I just can't pick the Giants to win.
Okay, now the spread is 4.5. Are you saying that's enough, or if you had to lean, is 4.5 too much? You think it's going to be a close cluster fuck of a game, or what?
I don't think they cover the spread.
Okay. So my bet's okay, so it's a win-win for both of us. By the way.
Yeah, I think it's too close.
Okay, now whenever you look at the quarterbacks, okay, Giants plus 4.5. Like that. Darius Butler also on board with. Okay, that's good news. Whenever you talk about the quarterbacks tonight, two quarterbacks, very interesting parts of their career right now. Carson Wentz obviously has a Super Bowl ring, legitimately has a Super Bowl ring, was in conversation to potentially be the next guy. Last year he had to carry an entire injury-riddled team at the end of the season. This year he's off at the beginning of the season. People are saying, get rid of him, get him out of there, everything like that. He's got to carry the weight of Philadelphia on his shoulders every single time he plays. He gets DeSean Jackson back tonight and Lane Johnson, which hopefully will help because I guess he's been getting slaughtered all year. And then on the other side, you got Danny Dimes loses Saquon Barkley. New turnover, new regime, new culture, new everything. He looks like luck, though. This past offseason, he built himself up. He's a bit of a monster at this point, and he can run wild on you, brother, if he wants to. How do you see these two quarterbacks faring tonight after looking at the film of the secondaries and everything like that?
Yeah, I think Danny Dimes, he struggles. I think he's going to struggle. He has all the talent in the world. It's crazy. He could easily be the best quarterback in that division if he's protected and if he protects the damn ball. I mean, he loses the ball a lot at a crazy rate. But if he does that, he can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with his arm. I still think it's a lot of potential there. On the other side, Carson Wentz just been so up and down. We see the talent. You see the talent. He fought his way back into that Ravens game. Like you said, injury riddle. I mean, up front, O-line, pass catchers, running backs, everybody's. He's been doing his job. But you see Jalen Hurts, that package is starting to grow a little bit. Pause. He's starting to get more plays. He kind of gave them their first down last week. So I think Wentz hits the under tonight, even though he wins the game.
All right.
I'm going to say a heavy under on that 243. Just
heavy?
He's losing Ertz. Heavy under. He's losing Ertz. Unless they're down, which I don't see him getting down big. But you lose Ertz. D-Jack is back. But if you got nobody up front to block for you, what does D-Jack do best? He gets behind the defense. So you got no time for that. Miles Sanders is gone. So, I still think he is the under tonight.
Okay, so I think you've lost one of these throughout the season thus far. You've been making a lot of money on this prop bet, which I appreciate. Danny Dimes, you don't even want to give an estimation on whether he'll hit over or under on his passing yards. You just think he's going to shoot.
I'm going to stay away from that because I'm going to stay away from that because I don't want to put it out there. He goes and they got to throw the ball 30, 40 times. And these games are so iffy. Like the Kyler Murray one that I lost, the Cowboys, like if they made him have to complete double-digit passes, he easily hits the under. He completed 9 passes. So you never know, but I'm gonna stick heavy with that under on Wentz. I'm gonna stay away from Danny Dimes.
D-Bud, how bad do you hate the leaking of Aaron Rodgers called it chicken shit? We'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys because Kyler Murray just ran like he didn't even. 9 completions, one of them being a deep shot, which was gorgeous, by the way, but 9 completions.
Just terrible.
They didn't even have to act like they were going to throw the ball. Like, even as you were watching, I hammered the over alongside you and the Andy Dalton under, which, by the way, would have been an incredible parlay if it would have hit. But as I was watching, I was like, oh, they're never going to throw the ball again. They don't even have to. They just can do what they got to do. And now you're hearing reports come out from the locker room about, well, the coaches are this, the coaches are that. And I think our issue is, and I have an issue with this. I'm not sure about you. I'm excited to hear your thought on this. Like, you can think your coach sucks. Like, that happens in a very regular basis. But then somehow either the meeting room has to figure it out or maybe have a conversation with somebody. The fact that we're only 6 games into this brand new regime, 6 games into this season, and you lost Dak, and now there's reports leaking to media members, which they know is going to get out and go big, that I just don't think that's the right way to go about it. Do you agree with that, or are you thinking like
that's bad? That's bad. You had Dungy on there yesterday speaking about it, and I agree with everything he said. But as a player, that's sucker shit. Point blank, period. Because we all pros. We out here. These coaches aren't making the tackle. They're not making calls. I don't care what you call it. As a pro, we got to be good enough and smart enough to figure it out. You know what I mean? You can make the same call damn near every play. But I do this for a living. I watch film. It's my job to come in here and have some answers, too. So if it is a situation where I'm a veteran or I'm a guy that's secure in my role and I can go and speak up to a coach or to a coordinator and say, hey, this may look great in your meetings, but this shit ain't working for us. These guys aren't getting it. That guy's not getting it. He's not getting it. We got to change some shit up. And then it's on them to look at themselves first as players and be like, all right, how do we fix this? And then you bring whatever issues you have to the coach. Whatever guy going to stand up there and take them bullets, you do that. And Nolan, he's been out of the game for a while, Mike Nolan. And as you know, this game, on whatever phase, special teams, offense, defense, it changes year by year. So you've been out of the game 6-7 years. It's a completely different game. So we got to be able to adapt. And, and the cooler heads got to prevail, but nothing can get out of the building, man. That's sucker shit.
I think so, too, especially how early it is. Now, listen, if this happens week 14, week 15, still not great that this is happening. But still, at least you've had an entire season of watching. Week 6 is so early. And in the NFC East, they can still go and get it.
You're right in it.
Yeah. What do you think
You're
they
right
need?
In it.
You think they need better veterans in the locker room? Is that what you think is the problem?
You just got to take more leadership, more ownership because, like, in the locker room, it's different. It's just the different leaders in their different little silos, their different rooms. Like the linebackers have a guy, guys up front have a leader, guys in the back end, somebody on special team. Like everybody just kind of got to galvanize their group of guys and say, hey, we got to figure out a way. Look, we're 2-4. We're playing like shit. Obviously, you're the Cowboys, so everybody's going to be talking about it. You got to be that's a part of it. But we just got to come together and figure this out. Point blank, period. And we're right. We're still damn near in the driver's seat in this division. If you look at the rosters, we still have the best roster. We got Andy Dalton, who's not going to look great in front of that O-line, but they got to figure that out. But if I'm on the defense, we got to figure our shit out. We got talent. We got guys making a lot of money over here, so we got to figure out, and guys got to start earning it. And if you're out here, if you're a repeat offender, if you're doing shit over and over again, if you're not executing calls, because you can say what you want to say about Mike Nolan. That 80-yard bomb before the half, that was just a complete brain fart by the corner to give that up. So you can say whatever you want to say about that. you got to go out and execute the calls and make plays, man.
By the way, everybody has the same answer that's ever been in the NFL that you just said there. Like literally everybody. And it's not like Aaron Rodgers had that answer. Okay, that's quarterback GOAT, getting paid $700 million guy. I have that answer. Punter, very low on the totem pole of importance ever. And now you, guy who was the voice for a defense for a while, it seems like every human is saying the same exact thing. Like, you can't be leaking. And she said, by the way, another in there, as if it was numerous people that were just like, yep, here you go. This is information.
That only happens in I mean, I hate to even call it, but just bad locker rooms. Like, and you were a part of a bunch of great locker rooms. Whether we're having a shitty season or a great season, whatever, if it's a play, you always hear, they call the players only meeting. And you know when guys call the players, that's when shit is getting real. So that's as far as it should go. It shouldn't go for players only meeting to now somebody's reaching out to, whoever the reporter is in that city and saying, hey man, these coaches can't adjust, these coaches can't do that. If they can't do that, tell the coaches that. Look, these game plans, they're shitty. We need to do better. What are we going to do better? What are we going to do better this week? I got some suggestions this week, Coach. Come in there like that, and then figure it out that way.
Yeah, because this isn't high school, okay? This isn't college. This is, hey, we're working together to do this. Like, we are in this thing together. And by the way, that locker room lost before, too. And everybody thought it was potentially Jason Garrett's fault. Now they're losing again, and it's like, are you the problem? Maybe you guys should tighten up what's going on in the locker room. What's up, Connor?
Darius, another locker room that had some information leak was the Dolphins about the switching of quarterbacks. When that happens, do you as a locker room kind of question everything that's going on ahead of you with the head coaches and those kind of decisions? And can he also lose the locker room by switching to Tua instead of Fitzmagic?
I wouldn't say he'll lose the locker room. Just now, that could be hold on, baby. That could be.
Hold on, who is that? Who is that?
That's my daughter. She probably just got done with school.
Oh, we'll teach. Okay, come on, come into class.
Cows. Oh, she probably went away. All right, so that could be a situation where it depends on where you are in your career. So if I'm a guy and I'm good in my role with this team, and I'm going to be here maybe a year or two for sure. Damn right, throw Tua in there. He's our best shot going forward long term for us to be winning this division next year and years to come. If I'm a guy that's in year 8 and I'm on a contract year, I want Fitzpatrick in there because he's going to give me the best chance to win right now, most likely. He's been playing well. So it depends on where you are in that room, and it's on that locker room. It's on that head coach to have everybody on the same page, just stand in front of the room and say, hey, I'm making these decisions, and I feel like this is what's best for the team. Now, for it to leak before he has that conversation with his team, I think that's more front office stuff. And as players, you don't really we're two completely different groups of humans. So that's not even we don't even give that any energy. But if it's our coach who's doing that or leaking or something like that, then that's different. But it's just you have that conversation with the team and then you move on from there. Everybody understands. He went top 5. You see what Herbert's doing. You see what Burrow's doing. Like he's the future. Everybody knew that coming into this thing. So I didn't like. I felt bad for Fitzpatrick. It's hard for me to feel bad for quarterbacks. I felt bad for him.
The whole thought, though, I would be intrigued on how my reaction would be if the coach is mad that somebody in his circle is leaking information out. I would love to hear. There she is. Tell her we said hello. It's great to see her. I hope
they said hi too. All right, go finish eating.
Dad of the year, by the way.
Incredible.
I would love to hear what I would. She just knocks up. Good, he blew her kiss. That's very nice. Your dad of the year right there. The thought of the coach not having a trust circle, right, and them leaking information, because like Tony Dungy said, first meeting. He would say, hey, we have no players named anonymous in this locker room, so I don't want to hear from them all season, right? If you have something to say, you say it. And then I would assume Flores is saying that type of thing, like, hey, what you see, say, and hear here stays here. I would assume is he's saying. And then everybody in the meeting room's like, yeah, we agree with that. Do you and your motherfucker?
You got your shit in check up top.
Yeah, so that would be that's why I would enjoy that situation. It's just like, well, isn't your kind of feels like this is on your ass, not us.
Exactly.
What do you got, Diggs?
DB, I assume you had to go up against AB, and if Seattle is the team that does end up getting him with him and Metcalf and Lockett, and if Josh Gordon ends up being reinstated with that team, like, how the fuck do you stop them?
Yeah, with the run game,
man, you keep them off the field. That's the only answers you would have for an offense like that with those weapons. I mean, I think they're already leading the league in scoring, but to add somebody like AB, because every week going into the game plan on Wednesdays, you start out and you put up on the head coach puts, hey, these are the game records, right? These are the guys. These are our keys to success. We got to stop these guys. We can't let these guys beat us. So if you got Seattle, obviously Russell Wilson will be one. You got DK, and now you got to throw AB, Lockett, where? So you only got so many guys on defense that you can pay attention to. So it's like, damn, how do we handle this? And then Russell's one of those guys who can extend plays you kind of need to spy on. So that'll be a really, really tough offense to stop. And it makes sense because they're struggling kind of on defense. Don't have that pass rush on defense, so I guess their mindset is just, hey, we just got to outscore everybody.
Which is the NFL now, by the way.
That's the NFL, yeah.
And I don't think anybody is talking about Russell Wilson on an MVP-like season.
Oh, yeah.
But he has enough weapons like what the Chiefs have at this point. If they get AB in there week 8, I mean, that's a lot. That's a high-powered offense. You have a great quarterback running. Could be a fun run to watch that. With Antonio Brown,
that'd be crazy. AB and Lev Bell facing off in the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Here. Hey, look at us.
Hey, look at us. You're a South Florida guy.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you know Antonio Brown. How do you feel like his mental state is? How do you feel he will be if he does come back to the Seattle Seahawks or other teams that Shefty put out there just to, I think, potentially stir the pot? Well, there's also other teams.
That's some good agent work. That's some great agent work right there.
Absolutely.
You got Seahawks interested in other teams.
Others. Let's keep the pot stirring so we can either get as much money as possible from Seattle or let other teams know that it's okay to be interested because there's numerous teams that are interested. I mean, it's a good PR move, whatever the case. But how do you feel? How do you feel about Antonio Brown coming back? Is he going to be the same Antonio Brown on the football field? And you think off the field, maybe he's all the way back, you think?
I think it's off the field would be my only concern. And I go way back with AB. We had the same agent when he got drafted. And when he was sitting in the room waiting to get drafted, our agent hit me and was like, hey, man, I need you to go over here with this guy. And at this point, he was an unknown in Central Michigan. And he was training kind of in the same area. So I went over there. I was winning when he got drafted. And then obviously you see him skyrocket. And things change, man. It's much harder to handle success than failure. And, you saw him kind of, fall off the mountaintop, screwed himself over a lot of the times. And I reached out to him. We had some conversations throughout this time. And I just hope his head is right. We haven't seen him as much, and that's a good thing. He just kind of fell back. Hopefully he's talked to some professionals as far as the mental, make sure everything is in place. But when you go, if I'm a team and I'm looking to sign AB, I want to make sure I have a plan in order to handle him. He's a professional, he's a grown man, but hey, we need to have something in place. It got to be a strong locker room, strong leadership. We got to have something in place to handle him. But on the field, you see him work out. He's still in shape. He's the best receiver I've faced in my career.
Why?
And,
Why?
So on the field, I would say he's still going to be that guy.
Why is he the best you've ever faced?
His motor. Number one, he never stops moving. And a big part of that, honestly, was playing with a guy like Big Ben, who bought extra time. So it wasn't only about the first route that he ran, but they were like on a damn umbilical cord because they just knew they were on the same wavelength. So that was tough. And if he can kind of build that rapport with somebody like Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers or somebody who can buy that extra time, he's unstoppable. He can beat you on all three levels of the defense as well. You can throw a screen to him. He can go 60. He has that return ability. He can beat you intermediately and move the sticks. And he can take the top off of your defense. So you don't have too many receivers who can affect the game at all three levels. So that's what separates Antonio Brown during his era, from the other guys.
He did cut his own umbilical cord there with Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So cut this thing out here. Then he went to Derek, and he didn't have any respect for him, I don't think, which, by the way, I'm not sure Derek Carr deserves that or not. He gets a Tom. He dominates with Tom for that one drive. He gets 6 targets or 7 targets, 6, and a touchdown. Then he's gone out of there. It's like, I'm pumped to see him with another great quarterback again. I just hope off the field everything is good. All right, so tonight we're going Giants plus 4.5. We're going Wentz under 243.5 yards passing. All right, let's make this money together.
Let's do it.
Hey, people that are watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on Sirius, you can't see this. Darius is currently sitting in front of the stock market. C-SPAN, I believe, is on it behind.
Dow Jones?
Yeah, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500.
Yeah, new kind of space race.
Wow. Invest in Tesla. Okay. What is a lot of people on YouTube are asking what is a good stock to invest in, because it does appear as if you are a guy that likes to dabble in the markets.
Oh, I am big. I I don't throw at the duck. I throw in front of the duck.
Oh, I like that. Are you talking about Duck Hunter?
Yeah. So tech. I'm all in tech, man. You see the world is moving and shifting in that direction, and the pandemic just kind of sped that thing up in super speed. So that's the future. So I'm a big tech guy. Crypto, if you got the disposable income, buy some crypto, man. It's the future, bro. I'm not gonna tell you put your life savings in it, but get some crypto. Big tech. I mean, they're coming for them. They're trying to break them up, but big tech is where it's at.
Yeah, I was offered a Bitcoin very early in the Bitcoin discovery.
Bro, get back in it, bro.
Nah, I said no. I think I'd be worth like 20, 30 million or something.
Yeah, well, they asked for
swap one of those
$600.
pinky rings out, man. Get you some XRP, get you some Bitcoins. Yeah, come on, man.
I'm out. I think it's fake. Ladies and gentlemen, 9-year NFL vet, Darius Butler. Gary Vee always talks about missing out on Uber or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I have a couple of those.
Yeah, you do.
Moroccan nuts.
Don't even say it.
Argan oil.
Yeah.
Don't know. You've heard of it. It's in
yeah.
everything that you use when it comes to beauty and all that.
Yeah.
I knew the Argan guy before he made $1 trillion probably at this point. Also, the Bitcoin thing. Very, very early, Bitcoin was offered to me, and I said, hey, that sounds like fake money. I don't want to keep it out of here. I'm going to go buy an all-terrain vehicle. I'm going to go buy a wrestling ring. I'm going to go buy a craps table to put in my kitchen. I'm going to go do all this stuff. I don't need that Bitcoin.
Yeah. Sounds like that stuff's a lot better anyway.
Would have been this show probably wouldn't happen, I guess.
Probably not.
You can touch those other things.
Yeah. What's that?
You can touch those things.
Well, that aquatic vehicle is actually at the bottom of the lake, so I don't know if you can touch that.
Yeah, it's a pond.
You can go get it.
It's a scuba gear.
It's dead. Yeah.
We could start mining for Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Maybe we'll get mid on it.
Where are those mines at?
Come on now.
There's some news coming out of the Oakland Raiders. The NFL believes Trent Brown, who tested positive, wasn't consistently wearing his tracking device.
Come on, Trent.
And they have video of the starting offensive lineman hanging out without masks. That's according to Tom Pelissaro. Then a follow-up. The Raiders were already fined heavily this season for multiple violations of, that's John Gruden. This is a dramatic retelling. The Raiders were already fined heavily this season for multiple violations of the rules. Just should add on to it, says Dove Kleiman. What he's talking about is a $250,000 fine for John Gruden who wouldn't wear the mask because he already had it. He said he had the antibodies. And he said, hey, I'm trying, man, or whatever. And now he has the whole entire thing. Now it's coming out, I guess, that the mask force that is walking around every facility probably has seen said offensive linemen just hanging out thinking that they can build camaraderie in the hallway. Gross. They think they're allowed to talk to each other whenever they're in the football facility. They think they're allowed to learn about each other without a mask on their face in the world that we're in. They are wrong. They are mistaken. They are now all sent home because contact tracing has linked the offensive line together. No way. Never would have thought that would happen.
Surprising.
By the way.
Can't do it, gentlemen.
Can't do it.
It's almost like these guys sometimes forget that it takes all of us.
It does take all of us.
It's on a shirt, I'm assuming that they got.
Don't forget they were out gallivanting at some high-class
charity event. Trying to make the world better. Hey, boys, don't need the world to be better right now, okay? Need you to wear some fucking masks.
You know what makes the world better? Playing football.
Whoa.
Get on a field on Sundays.
Okay.
All right.
Best ability, payability.
Wear your goddamn masks.
Amen.
Okay. I mean, they're going to ruin football.
They are. They're trying to take down the shield.
God, how about them being the first team to have an entire position group not be able to practice because they're out here talking to each other? Excuse me. Shut up. Okay, don't talk to each other. Don't even look at each other. Don't do charity events. Don't even try to make the world a better place. It's going to take all of us. And by that, it means it's going to take all of us to shut it the fuck down.
You know the only time they should be talking to each other? When they're planning out carpools to go vote.
All right. That's
good. Hell yeah.
You know what? You're right.
Hell yeah.
Go vote.
This show is the worst. The absolute worst, dude.
But go vote.
They should go vote.
They should. Go rock the vote.
Go rock. Let's go to Blake in Ohio. This show sucks.
Hey, Blake.
This show sucks so bad.
Hey, Pat and boys, how you doing? Just curious when Pat is going to be Ohio's general and get FanDuel over here.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm trying, pal. I'm gonna let you know. It's good. It's good for Ohioans if FanDuel and mobile sports gambling becomes legalized in Ohio. It's good for Ohioans. It will raise morale. Okay, It is a great bonding event for families, which I have guessed and I've heard that families have been attacked
during this quarantine because of being trapped around each other, you see, and having to teach your kids. It's like divorce rates have gone up and everything like that. Let me tell you about sports gambling. Whenever you're sports gambling with your wife, all of a sudden watching a ball game is fun for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
My wife, she says she plays FanDuel, and FanDuel actually sends her a message on the screen like, are you still playing? Like the Netflix, are you still watching? And she feels disrespected. She's like, yes, I'm still watching. By the way, would not still be watching if I didn't have a chance. So I bet this motherfucking team right now. So I think when FanDuel gets into Ohio, I think the Ohioans will love it. I think it'll be good for the economy. I think it'll be good for the people. I think it'll be good for everybody. But for that to happen, I think there's like 75 political things that have to happen.
Write your senator.
Just about.
Yeah, there's a lot of. And by the way, every time I say, can we not just open up in Ohio? I get like, how much time do you have? Like 20 minutes or so? Let me tell you how this works. They start bringing in like this casino here. You see, they have this with this and this and this, and then this happens and this happens, and when this lobbyist comes in, boom.
Oh, geez.
And by the way, facing re-election, so boom, boom, boom. I mean, there it is. They do that, and I'm like, okay, you just let me know when we're enough.
It's like a state trying to get marijuana. It's the same thing.
Yeah, by the way, that should happen.
They both should.
They both should. Stat.
Help the economy very much. So
quickly, too, I would believe. I watched the Goober Notorial debate for Indiana the other night.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty good.
Jesus.
They going at each other?
They were in different rooms in the same building, right?
Okay.
So they had to press a button to let the person know that was running it that they would like to rebuttal. Old buddy missed the button a couple times, so now you got screens like a finger pointing thing, but can't talk. I mean, it was a shit show. It was an abs. But yet another debate, and I don't watch a lot of these things. I watched that first one because I had to. Everybody told me. And I was
awesome.
Like, this is Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless yelling at each other. This is what you political people do. We have this every day in the sports world. Because some of those people are like, sports are stupid, whatever. It's like, well, if this is what you do all day, I could tell you what you guys just witnessed there in your primetime Super Bowl. We have literally every fucking morning. So if you want to kind of dabble into our world a little bit and maybe open yourself up to sports, same exact thing. So I was kind of disturbed, and I thought to myself, like, there's like 10 of us probably in the sports world that could go up onto that debate stage and win without any knowledge of anything going on. Just I have no idea what I'm talking about. I assume that I could either stop that person from talking, crack that person, or rebuttal them somehow without knowing anything that's going on. I watched the gubernatorial thing the other night. Oh my fucking God. What's going on?
Is that guy Joe Donnelly back?
Joe Donnelly. Sleeping Joe. No shot. Sleeping Joe Donnelly.
Mexico Joe.
Oh, man.
Did it at least give you a little clarity on who you're going to vote for?
Yeah, that's exactly what it did. You know, Sam, my wife, born and raised in Indiana. So she knew a lot more than I did about the things that they were referring to, because I don't know much about the state or whatever.
Right.
But listening to him talk, I'm like, you got to be a better talker than this, right, to be the governor. Like, I think that is the biggest thing that I've learned is I always assumed that politicians could speak well. These motherfuckers stink at speaking. I mean, I thought that was all it was, like being able to relay a message. I thought people stink it. I mean, if I have to hear one more person go, the thing about taxes. Get the words out, dude. You're a politician. That's like what you're supposed to do.
And that is the thing. I do believe their most important job is to be good speakers.
You should have heard Rob Manfred talking last night before the World Series game.
Wow, what'd he do? He stunk, I'd assume. Foot in mouth commissioner of the year and decade, 10-time running Rob Manfred. Then it's coming out that a lot of other teams allegedly were cheating, and he just buried all those, and the Astros one got brought up to the forefront.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
Huh?
Follow Beltran.
Oh, my God.
Follow Beltran.
No, but it's like 6 teams.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's fucking
He was on
cheating.
all of them.
But hey, guess what? Someone needed to be made an example of, and it just so happened to be the Astros.
I'm supposed to tell people to go to lisa.com/McAfee for up to $500 off the greatest mattress you've ever had in your entire life. And you don't have to go to a mattress store. They'll actually deliver it to your doorstep. Wow. Completely changing the game. Lisa.com, LEESA.com/McAfee for up to $500 off. But we got off on a tangent there about people speaking bad.
What are you going to do?
Anyways, this show stinks. AJ Hawk joins us on the other side with some phone calls. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, October 22nd.
Just checking your availability. If you're in Indianapolis now, did you get to Buffalo?
Yeah, I got a plane that's supposed to take me down
It's a game day anyway, so I could definitely have it go to Buffalo first. How long is the flight from Indy to Buffalo? You can find us a plane for like 4 o'clock. I think that'll be perfect.
Best we can do is depart around 5:30.
Okay, do we have any other, can you find any other planes that could get us out of here earlier than that? I was just asked if I could appear in Buffalo within the next 4 hours to basically do the show on Fox tonight.
Okay, I'll call you back.
You know what I'm asking for?
Yeah.
All right, so he's going to call Jim Irsay and see if I can just use Jim's jet. He's calling me back shortly, but just start packing.
Hey.
You're the absolute best. Does this sound like a potential yes, you're saying? He's the fucking best. I would be so thankful. Hey, this is really cool. I don't know how many billionaires would do this for people that have worked for them in the past. This is awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. Can I take a kendo stick to his back?
We'll talk about it when you get here.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Hey, let's break the fucking internet tonight. What a hilarious life. We are live on Fox in 6 hours and 35 minutes. 3 hours of sleep, no clue what the storylines are. Just fucking let the nuts swing, bro. Let's just go out there and have a good time. Plane company. I know. Here we go, boys. All right. Tonight, this is going to be a night we're going to look back on and remember. And then we're going to hop on a plane and head to Memphis for College Game Day. I think this is a joke too. I just want to let you know, like, this is a Truman Show. I very much understand that this is not supposed to happen. I got the text at 1:42 p.m. today from Mr. H that says, "Have you heard there have been some travel issues? Can you make your way to Buffalo?" Jim Irsay, owner of the Colts, literally lent me his plane. Might be the most confident I've ever been on in something. I didn't know we were that good of friends, to be honest. I was throwing a Hail Mary, and he responded and said, yeah. So I got here about an hour and a half before the show, and to work with Renee, Tom, and be on SmackDown with a bucket of makeup on my face. This has been a dream come true bucket list type situation here in beautiful Buffalo, New York. Come on, boys. We're going to be on cable.
By Pat McAfee, replacing our guest commentator Aiden English.
No sleeves in, George. Good to see you.
It feels good here in Buffalo. I got a text from the game, a cerebral WWE official. He said, "Hey, you might have heard about the travel issues. Can you make it to Buffalo?" I said, "Absolutely." What a magical evening it is, November 1st, 2019. I mean, let's be honest. The Marine was a heathen. You know what I mean? He's a great actor. He was great on The Real World. He was great on all of that.
Oh.
Tegan, no! That's how they do it in NXT, baby. Almost took me out holding another grown lady in the air. November 1st, 2019, greatest SmackDown in the history of SmackDown. Pat, you joining us? It might absolutely be correct the way things have gone here tonight. SmackDown in the history of SmackDowns, November 1st, 2019. It's documented. I had a good time out there, man. I had no idea what was happening, so it's really just a natural reaction to everything. That was awesome, dude. That's a real bucket list thing. Game day bucket list. This is like complete bucket list. 2 in 1 week. Oh yeah. With a horseshoe shoved up my ass and a horseshoe owner lending us a plane. Are you kidding me, dude? Oh shit! Hey Steven, fuck you.
And it is off the wall.
Don't cut. This is a good at bat. Hey, nice pitch. I think I just pulled a hammy. Hey, back. Hey, fuck you, Steven. What inning?
Top of the second.
Jesus.
Here comes McAfee.
I saw that thing jumping out of the glove. Hey, what was that? Would have been nice to take a nap earlier.
Another throw.
Get back.
First. He's going back on it now. Coming over the center fielder. Harris makes the catch.
Cousin. James. What was that? And the catcher goes, "I had to give you one."
1-1 pitch.
Let's go.
Line drive right at the center.
This is a good at bat. Oh, in my head, it was like, oh, yeah, you're going to drop this for sure. What the fuck are you even doing here? Why did we sign up for this? What's going on? It all comes down to this. My last at bat. Hey, I'm going to get on. You bring me home.
This is your life on the line, fucker.
Let me tell you something. If you're going to take an L, okay, you're going to take one.
So I think that the close your eyes and swing method is perfect for you.
Oh, this is hardball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Jesus. You have no prayer.
Number 1, right fielder, McAfee.
Oh, boy.
McAfee at the plate.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello. It is Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. Hour 3 on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82 starts right now. Thanks for that beat drop by Twine there. You're a good person and an incredible musician. Joining us now is a man who is really good at football. Threw his head into other people's faces, but never got a concussion somehow. What? Super Bowl champion, national champion from the Ohio State. He is an Ohio State legend. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. Wow, AJ.
What's happening? Hey, I looked at the little sidebar. Who's the masked singer? I missed the beginning of the show.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a masked singer. It was me and my mask last night made an appearance on NXT. By the way, yeah.
So that was your big news. That was the big news you ended the show with yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty big news, dude. Completely rattled the wrestling community with this thing. And I'll tell you what, when I sit with this mask on, you see, when I don't move, the mask it fits almost perfectly. You can see the first chin and the second chin a little bit. But whenever you have a head the size of mine, that is always going to be a problem with any mask that you buy from a store, okay?
Yeah.
So it's not going to fit because my brain is so big. But this one felt like it was right, and I'd never seen it before. Shout out to Halloween stores now everywhere basically selling the Pat McAfee mask. You can't get this now.
TM.
I've never seen it before. But when I ran out to do my thing, and kind of rattle the wrestling community, this thing came sliding up like this. And I was so worried that the gray patches, my big mouth, and the massive snoz was going to stick out underneath the thing. I did not think about it. And, it was a little hot in there for sure, but it was a beautiful night. It's great to be back in the wrestling world. And wait until the people hear the backstory behind all this. It is going to frustrate the wrestling community on the internet. I'm pumped about it.
Good for you, man. Yeah, it was good. This morning I saw you post something, whatever happened last night. So, yeah, I'm glad you're getting back into it.
Well, thank you. I'm going to have to lose a bunch of weight, though, because the last time I was in the wrestling world, I was potentially in the best shape I've ever been in my entire life because I got in wedding shape, and then all of a sudden Adam Cole comes on the show, is an asshole.
Right.
Then all of a sudden it goes after the wedding shape. So it was just like a compounding of two shapes there that got me into a good shape. But since football has started and it's on Saturday. What? Sunday. What? Monday. What? Tuesday. What? Thursday. What? Friday. What? We're back at Saturday. What? It's hard not to just become a fat ass during the football season.
It's very hard.
So I saw myself on TV last night, and I see myself on the internet every single day. The face has certainly gotten a bit fatter, and whenever you're Irish, that's where all your weight goes. So I'm going to have to get into shape if I plan on getting back in there. But I really enjoy this role of being on the microphone with our guys, too. I mean, let's not get it. This is a great spot for me, just having a microphone and talking hella shit. I mean, this is a good place for me to be.
Yeah, I think it's right. It seems to be right in your wheelhouse. I think you're doing what you probably should be doing.
Well, speaking of doing what we should be doing is talking about the NFC East Mega Bowl tonight on Thursday Night Football. I said it earlier. I mean, for the sake of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman,
Let's hope there's no goddamn planes flying over this game tonight. But if there is, maybe they'll be able to hold it together and keep it a bit positive throughout that entire thing. The Philadelphia Eagles are at home and favored by 4.5. Talked to Darius Butler last hour. He thinks New York Giants cover the 4.5, but Philadelphia Eagles win in a close one. He also thinks Carson Wentz will throw for under 243.5 yards this evening because of potential Jalen Hurts packages coming in and other things like that. AJ, you've had a chance to sleep and think about the NFC East Mega Bowl. What are your thoughts on how tonight's going to go? What are your predictions? And who are we hammering in the Crimson Chin's house?
Yeah, so this is a good one. I love this matchup. I am going to pick the Eagles, and actually they're going to cover 4.5 too. The spreads usually doesn't matter to me, but I think they're going to cover 4.5. I really do. I think this is the get back on track game for Carson Wentz. I don't even mean get back on track. I think he's already there almost. But I think tonight he shows the world that he is the Carson Wentz that everyone knows him to be. They're better than they think he is, I should say.
Listen to this injury report, please. Listen to this from Diggs.
I am. I know about it.
No, I think you've seen it. Have you actually listened to it?
Listen.
Exactly, Zito. That is exactly what we're looking for.
Listen, AJ. I mean, come on. Give me a break here as it pulls up. Out tonight for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jack Driscoll, tackle, out. Zach Ertz, out. Malik Jackson, out. Alshon Jeffrey, out. Miles Sanders, out. Kavon Wallace, safety, out.
Listen to that. That sounds like the entire fucking roster. If they're playing 6-on-6 football, it's the entire team other than Carson Wentz.
Goddard's still out, and Jalen Reagor he has first-round draft pick. He's not playing. He hasn't.
That's a lot of people out, AJ. That's a big deal, don't you think? Or do you think the short week it actually helps them because it's a lot more reactionary as opposed to everything else?
Yeah, it's a lot of people out. You didn't mention Lane Johnson coming back into the lineup. That will be huge. Hopefully he can make it through the game. I know he's been battling through something this year. Maddox, the corner, is likely back tonight as well for Philly. So, yeah, things are looking good, man. And you know what? The most important thing of all of it, you can go over all the stats you want and tell me what all these different things and things that have happened in the past. But Doug Peterson, he's 5-0 on Thursday nights, Pat. That's all I need to know.
Wow. Can't argue with that.
Oh, easy, Gumpy.
I knew Gumpy'd be on board.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that was a Gumpy nuke right there. But have you ever seen Doug Peterson look at the camera whenever he's asked a question on a Zoom conference call and they ask him about his record and he goes, 1-4-1. That's where we should be. Have you ever seen Doug Peterson like that? Just like, yeah, we suck, basically.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being real? Like, hey, this is where we are, but you know what? We are inches away from first place.
Yeah, I know. That's why tonight's matchup is such a big deal, because one of these teams could go on a 2 to 3 game run and secure the NFC East for the entire season. Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen. Somebody is going to have to win. Unless they tie out, which the Eagles have already done once, 1-4-1. Unless the NFC East can figure out a way just to tie the rest of the way, you're thinking potential 5-win team winning. 5-6-win team winning in the NFC East. Any of these teams can get it at any time. Even the Cowboys, whose locker room hates the team, they can win. The Washington football team, they can win. Mm-hmm. They got Kyle Allen and Alex Smith playing quarterback, and nobody knows if anything's going to happen there. And anybody could win the NFC East. That's why tonight is so important. It's a Mega Bowl. It is a legit. Yeah. When Jackie Moon was playing for 4th place, we must win 4th place. And, you know, he fought a bear, and it was the Mega Bowl 4-4. That's what this is. This tonight is a Mega Bowl. This is, you could potentially win maybe the least successful division in the history of the NFL. What's that?
With AJ's point about Lane Johnson coming back, John Clark, who's NBC Sports Philly, said, I'm told it'll be better for Lane's ankle to get more rest, but Lane is such a team guy with the injury to Jack Driscoll. He wants to be out there to protect Carson Wentz. So, I mean, how long is that ankle going to hold up tonight?
Don't worry about it. Narcan, Toradol, Lane Johnson is he's handling it tonight. If he was a Packer, no chance, because they don't give out any of those drugs. But I would assume the Eagles are okay with their players playing through a little bit of something. I would hope. I don't know.
So wait, you guys that are picking the Giants, why do you? I hear you talking about the Eagles, like what they're not going to do. What are the Giants going to do to win this game?
Don't need to hear it. Just know, as soon as I know there's that many people injured, and whenever you do the 5-0 number and the Carson Wentz 4-0 number on Thursday nights and all that, well, yeah, obviously that means they could be very hot and have it all figured out. Or it could mean at some point, hey, that son of a bitch is going to have to start swinging the other way.
Bingo.
Is that this year? Is this Carson Wentz the same Carson Wentz that won 4-0 on Thursday night? Is this Doug Peterson the same Doug Peterson that won 5-0? These are questions that should be asked whenever you're thinking about gambling. And whenever it comes to the New York Giants, I'm not 100% sure if they win this game. Okay, I might feel like Darius a little bit. Maybe Carson Wentz will do a miraculous end of the game win drive like he did last year at the end of the season. I just think plus 4.5 is a lot of points for the Giants. And this is a team that has rallied in and bought into this new culture. And maybe this is the week that the new culture pays off for him with Joe Judge, Belichick disciple.
Hell yeah.
77% of the money is on the Eagles to cover, but I'm hearing from my inside sources here that the sharp action is on the Giants. Not a surprise.
Shock.
Does Joe Judge on his first short week worry you at all?
Nope. Doesn't matter.
This is like the Dolphins last year where they got the taste of their first victory and then rattled off a bunch of covers. That's what the Giants are doing this year.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, Danny Dimes, same thing. By the way, might name this thing Sharp. Because when this sumbitch comes out, by the way, lines move, AJ. Lines move at the moment. 24-11 or something like that right now on picks.
Is that good?
I just hope it's... A very me thing would be to retire from making picks at this moment.
You got the ring.
I do have this pinky ring and the Hammer Don pinky ring, which is going to be presented to me later this afternoon. So
it's going to be a hell of a presentation.
I mean, it is on. That hammer is on fire. You like them to cover 4.5. You said spreads don't matter to you, and then you said they're going to cover 4.5. You think they win convincingly, huh? You think this is a real pivotal game for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I do. I feel like if the Eagles they'll get. You shouldn't say they can get blown out. I don't see either team getting blown out, but I definitely see the Eagles covering 4.5.
Oh man, I hope not. By the way, I just want to let you know I hope not.
Dethroning.
I mean, I just don't know. I feel like they're going to force some turnovers. The Philly defense is going to be able to force some turnovers. I think the Giants O-line will have some trouble holding up. The Phillies.
Oh my God.
Philly's O-line is going to have some trouble as well, but I feel like the Giants will have more.
I just saw Danny Dimes turn a corner and do one of those Andrew Luck runs,
70 yards to the house,
like an awkward. Why is that guy still pulling away from people and still running?
Maybe even just like a QB sweep for him around the corner.
And by the way, Pat, you asked it earlier, plus 400 for him to score a rushing touchdown.
Oh, it seems like we're betting that one for sure. 85 yards last week, you said? Last week he rushed for 85 yards, 75 yards?
75, you said earlier.
75, I think.
I don't know if it was that many. I may have been a little demonstrative, but he had at least
no,
he had at least a 40-yard run.
Yeah, he had one deep run.
Yeah, explosive plays from Danny Dimes in the run game.
He had
74. He had 74 rushing yards last week.
There you go. Right on the money. Yeah, Danny Dimes is what's his over-under for rushing yards tonight?
Slam that, too.
But maybe he found you have a big game like that on the ground. I mean, I am an NFL quarterback. I have 18 yards on one rush, 0 yards on the other, so 2 for an average of 9.
Wow.
I mean, pretty good.
Moving
Not too shabby. I think in the NFL history, I think I am ranked at a 9-point average per carry. But the thought of if you have a little bit of success with rushing, I would assume next week you're going to try it again, AJ, don't you think? Isn't that something now that defense has to worry about? Hey, if he has 74 yards rushing last week, this guy is mobile. We got to have an eye on him. You think they're going to hawk him, or how does it work?
I mean, I don't think they're going to be spying Danny Dimes.
That might be a mistake. That's what we're saying.
You think? Is that so? Tonight's Joe and Troy, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is.
Well, there should be a prop on whether they're going to mention their whole, the thing that got leaked. If they make some joke about it, or, I can't wait to hear them talk about how the Eagles did not employ a spy and Danny Dimes is running all over their defense. If that happens, I will smile to myself thinking of you, how happy it makes you.
Oh, I'll be texting you while it's happening.
No.
Hey, they should
My phone will be on the charger though. I'm not going to respond.
Isn't that convenient?
Of course.
Let's get some phone calls here. Let's go to Ryan down in Texas. What's going on, Ryan?
Yo, what's up, Pat?
What's going on, Ryan? Yeah, fuck you, AJ.
Hey, I had a question about Antonio Brown possibly going to the Seahawks. Do you think Russ could be that leader to help keep him in line? I would say not like I know he's not a child, but I mean keep him out of trouble.
I understand what you're saying there, Ryan. You mean is Russell Wilson a quarterback that you think Antonio Brown thinks highly enough that he won't want to get pissed off at him for any reason if something goes bad? I think Russell Wilson's one of those guys. I've never played on a team with him. Obviously, I've only heard him mic'd up. It feels like he is the consummate positive guy. And from the way people talk about it, he is always like that. It's almost like a Tim Tebow thing. And some people might say that's insufferable.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he's not incredible. I mean, he's very good.
But you're also saying,
yeah, he's pretty insufferable.
Some people might say that,
Sure.
right? I don't say that. I say that's a consistent guy, and I've never heard a human talk like that. But that locker room with Russell Wilson, with Pete Carroll as well, I just think that would be a place that Antonio Brown would succeed at off the field in his happiness and everything like that. But let's also not discredit what he could potentially be doing right now to hopefully, maybe he did go see a doctor or did something like that. And if your chemicals are off or what, I'm not saying this happens. I'm just saying from personal experience with friends who potentially had battles with mental health, if it gets diagnosed, chemicals can be aligned very quickly almost. So, and we haven't heard much from Antonio. Maybe Antonio Brown has figured this out for himself, and he's nowhere near going to be the type of player that would warrant a worry about him potentially burning the entire locker room down. But on the other side, who knows? I guess that is the probably $7 to $10 million question down the line.
Well, don't you think Antonio Brown would do well in a situation either like a Belichick, Tom Brady, like, hey, these guys, we know who the boss is, Bill Belichick. It's like the dictatorship, but I'm going to be a pro and go about my business. He won't bother me. Or like a Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson type team where, like you said, ultimate positivity at all times. Like, Pete will do such a good job of smoothing I bet Pete will be so far ahead of it before Antonio ever even has a freak out.
By the way, Pete Carroll came out and said, yeah, we're in it. Like he wanted it to be known that they are interested in Antonio Brown, which I think is him potentially trying to show Antonio Brown like, hey, I want you to be here. We want you to be a Seahawk. I want you to be a Seahawk, which could be a part of this entire thing with Pete Carroll. Everybody says Pete Carroll is the guy you want to play for if you're in the league. What's that, Nick?
Question for you and AJ, not to make this political, but do you have any concern about dropping AB into a lawless, autonomous city like Seattle?
I just hope he votes, okay? All we care about is we hope he votes.
Go vote. Rock the vote.
That's all we care about. Seattle is, I guess, pretty wild right now.
Yeah. Is that still open? Chaz or whatever they called it?
I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it, but I will, on Twitter, I'll scroll through something, I'll see something, I'll be like, oh, this is a movie. And then I'll be like, nope, it's not. Oh, shit. All right, I'm going to get out of here. That's how I operate in this particular sphere. But Antonio Brown going to Seattle would be a nightmare for NFC teams because of the amount of offense they would have.
Hey, you had Darius on earlier, and Darius was talking about how AB's motor is always running, and he's always moving. He's always finding a way, and he said it may be because of Big Ben and how much time Big Ben can create. Well, guess what? Russell Wilson can create a 15-second play, so you'll have some time to run your guy in circles and find a way to get open.
Oh, man. Did the Seahawks just... That's problematic for our Packers, I think.
No, I know.
Your Cowboys, our Packers. I mean, that's problematic for there potentially.
What are you gonna do?
Niners, the Bears, by the way.
Imagine AB and DK Metcalf on the same side, like running combinations together.
What would you do? You couldn't do anything. You literally couldn't. You would have to have what? 4 people over there? How do you do that with 7 other people on the off?
I'd put probably 6 guys over 2 and then try to figure it out with the rest.
AJ. You were in the organization for a long time. Packers would not bring in someone like AB, correct?
No, I don't think they'd be scared to. I think they're a place where they know like a guy would kind of fall in line. So I don't think they'd be scared to. It wasn't the old GM Ted Thompson's kind of thing, but who knows what Goody's thinking.
Yeah, literally. Who the fuck knows what he's thinking? But what about like Julio? Julio's potentially on the trade block.
Yeah, like anybody in the world, anybody would welcome Julio. They would pay upwards. He gets 20 a year, right, or more than that.
17 or 18, whatever it is. I forget. We talked about it earlier with Julio going there. But the conversation we almost had early in the show, and it wasn't going to be a show. It was a call from somebody about the Falcons. And all these sports shows are talking about how Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are trade like targets, and people are going to want to trade for him. Matt Ryan has a $40 million cap hit next year. I just don't know. It's second highest in the entire NFL behind Ben Roethlisberger. It's more than obviously every quarterback you just thought of in your head that you would want to build your franchise around. Yep. Julio Jones, though, is a guy that I think every team in the NFL would be like, yeah, he makes us immediately better, just immediately better as soon as he gets here. I think everybody would want that guy. What's up, Dave?
Julio makes next year 23, 2022 19, and then 2023 19.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. But by the way, maybe they ask him to restructure, by the way. If you were asking Matt Ryan to restructure, it's probably down to 25 million, which is what Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Phil Rivers got. That'd be a $15 million restructure. Do you see Matt Ryan doing that? I do not, personally. Even if he's the nicest of guys, that just seems like a very bad move. For Julio
Julio, if they ask him to renegotiate, what, $3-4 million down probably? That's a lot more, seems like attainable for, not that Julio will do it. I'm not saying he should do it, anything like that. But I'm saying if a team is like, hey, we want to trade and restructure, I assume that potentially is where the number they might be. Or maybe they're like, yeah, you're good enough, we got it. But it's a much different scenario as the Matt Ryan $40 million owed thing.
Well, Julio would be such a perfect fit for really any team that is set up to make a run at the Super Bowl this year. Like wherever you put him, like I would find a way to fit his salary on my roster if it looked like there was a chance we could get him.
Green Bay would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
Devontae Adams, Big Bob Tunyon, Lazard, Julio, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Aaron Rodgers. How we doing? Keep it moving. That would be, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you're like, okay, I can only look at Devontae normally in situations. Now, they can't have 7 players on Devontae because we got a guy over here who every human that's played in the NFL at DB and wide receiver has said, oh, that's the guy. Julio Jones is the guy. He's bigger, faster, stronger, and runs great routes, and he's got great hands. That'd be awesome for the Packers, but they would never do it.
I feel like they value the first-round pick so much, even though hopefully they're going to be drafted in like late 20s. You know, I mean,
they value, huh?
Well, I'm just saying, you talk about it all the time. Like, is that more valuable to your team than trading that and getting Julio Jones? Like, I don't think so. I mean, I think you go out and get the guy, try to win the fucking Super Bowl this year. But
if I was a GM, I want to win right now, and that's why I'm not GM, by the way, for a lot of reasons. I mean, I've never scouted anybody before. There's a lot of reasons why I'm not a GM. But if I was a GM, I mean, we could get into those very quickly if we wanted to, but it would be a long list. But if I was to be a GM, I'd want to win right now. So I would be big in I don't know what this 4th rounder in 2 years is going to do, but fuck it. Get rid of it. We'll figure it out later. I am very much, and by the way, if it doesn't pan out, okay, cool. Let's figure out a way to spin his worth up. Let's trade him back out of here then. Like, let's go ahead and get something. Like, I would be a very active GM. And that would be rude, obviously, because I'm not thinking about the human side of it, picking up families, throwing them around the city or throwing them around the country and everything like that. But I don't understand the GMs that are like, we're going to build this thing over the next 7-8 years. It's like, whoa, not me, dude. Not me. Let's go right now.
Especially for the Packers, too, who, I mean, they're showing up to Rodgers' front door with, pitchforks in the next 2 years. So you might as well bring in Julio now and try and win with them before you run him out of town.
The front office feels like they're potentially planning for the future. I don't know if Julio Jones would fit the future. They're thinking 5-6 years from now. But Julio Jones would definitely fit the now and the recent future, or the near future, because he is, I don't think, slowing down. What's up?
To your point to what you were just talking about bringing guys in, like, good for the Vikings. They brought Ngakoue in. It wasn't working out as far as them winning games. They were 1-5 or whatever. So
not his fault.
No, it's not his fault.
Not at all.
But did you know
1-year contract?
Did you know? Yeah. By the way, 1-year contract. They got to eat $6.8 million. So not great, but they did get him. I assume they picked up something like a 4th rounder or whatever. Yannick Ngakoue has 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Just got traded this morning back to his hometown, Baltimore.
It's the quietest 5 sacks in the league right now for some reason. Yeah, why don't you hear about this?
I've not. By the way, when it was announced, it wasn't even said. I think we had to look it up, and because everybody was like, we remembered the Vikings-Packers game where either he played or didn't play much and didn't do much or whatever. And I think like the initial reports was like, oh, it's not working out. And then we looked up his stats and we're like, how? Just get rid of that guy? Like, what's going on over there in Minnesota? And who knows?
Are they giving up on the year?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering.
Are they going to trade Thielen next?
Bring Thielen over here to Indy. Be great to have him.
Thielen to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Bring him to New England.
Keep him in the division, for Christ's sake.
They're the Bears.
24 minutes into this 3rd hour here on this Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. We will take phone calls on the other side. Can't wait to chat with you. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We'll see you on the other side. You said in the interview that you would add an extra finger to your scotch drink or whatever. A finger is just what? Just one finger this way or this way?
Yeah, like this, bro.
So did you do 4 on Sunday? You did a full fucking glass?
It was a long night. We didn't get home. I didn't get home till like 11:40.
Look at how much scotch that is. Is that what you did?
It's not that much.
That's 4 fingers, dude. You said you normally do 3. That's 4 right there.
But you have those fat sausages.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't been cordial over the years between me and Sue. You know, we've had some battles over the years. I think I mentioned that he got frozen feet and didn't realize he was stepping on my calf. He also stomped on one of my teammates at one point. I was under the impression that we were going to have a conversation after the game. And there might have been some loss in translation, whether or not he was talking about the, see you at the bus conversation. I thought it seemed more like, hey, let's have a little, come to Jesus moment. I was looking for that conversation. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't think it was going to, look, I'm not going to play number 2.
Do you think it was the 3 pumps that potentially got you into deep shit with the football gods, Aaron?
You, of all people, a man who was celebrated as much as anybody at your position, you must realize, whether necessary or unnecessary, the celebrations have no correlation in that sense.
You needed a kick in the ass. Do you just think everybody was getting kind of too comfortable and had the bye week and had a chance to soak it in? Hey, we're very, very good. Is that what you meant by that?
I mean, I think we all need that a little bit. When the complacency starts to sink in and you start kind of feeling yourself a little bit, it's always good to kind of get knocked down. And I think it can be a good thing. I'm not saying, look, nobody wants to lose to fucking figure things out. Great teams have consistent habits. And so we got to keep doing the things that got us to 4-0 in order to get back to where we want to be.
Here, here, huh?
Yeah.
Here, here. Attaboy, Aaron!
I know you were an extra in Game of Thrones. I wanted to get your opinion on how you think the show ended.
So I think many of us were disappointed and confused by the ending.
Which one were you? Do you know which one you were yet?
The guy running duck-footed heel first with his arms splaying all about.
Yeah, no cakes. Weak jaw turned into the alley. Was that you?
I think that guy's related to AJ somehow.
Now, there's something that needs to be addressed. People are questioning the nukes. Were the launch codes messed up? But I have a stat to totally redeem myself. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, after an against-the-spread loss, are 10-0 against the spread their last 10 games. Now, let's go to prime time. Primetime favorites fell to 6-13 on the season. But primetime unders now 13-8 on the season. Let's stick with the unders trend. In week 6, unders were 10-4. Unders were also 9-2 on games that were outdoors. And totals that were over 50, the under was 6-2 this weekend. We'll be back tomorrow. More stats, more info, and Hammer Dad back on Thursday for a full Week 7 preview. Cheers.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
This is a click clack, by the way.
Ooh, yes.
This is a beat that was created because of AJ Hawk's Under Armour commercial back in the day. He's now wearing a Nike shirt. Yikes.
Oh, no.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Hour 3 here. McAfee and Hawk. AJ Hawk is joining us, talking about all things happening in the world today. We put out a video of us talking about how we think Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll could be a good place for Antonio Brown, potentially off the field, to stay happy, focused, and all that stuff, A lot of people have tweeted that are Antonio Brown haters go, hey, it really worked for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I think it did.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Didn't everything that he did happen before he got there? And then everything. Different stuff. So, I think it actually did. And I think AB was at, Tom Brady's house, working out with him. They said he was in the meeting, he was grinding. So, all the people that are saying it didn't work out for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick with Antonio Brown off the field, I think it actually did work there, but it was everything that he had done previously to getting there, and then after there was a problem. So I think Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson is a place that Antonio Brown will both respect their resume, respect their accomplishments, respect their profession, and I think if he ends up there, Seattle Seahawks are a problem for any defense in the NFL, I think.
Well, don't you think for anybody, and especially Antonio Brown right here, you have to think at some point like, hey, this is my last chance?
Yeah, I would assume. But be who you can afford to be.
This is, but no, I'm not saying this is his last chance. But if you're Antonio Brown in his mind, don't you think you approach it like it is?
But you know this as much as I do. Like, he's so good at football. Like, he is so good at the football. Not only does he have the high motor that Darius Butler talked about, is he can cut whenever he has to because of his high motor, how hard he works. And also, best punt returner in the league if he wants to be. Just no problem at all. And kick returner if he wants to. It's just, he's a guy. He is a guy. It's just everything he's done off the field has made him untouchable by everybody. Now he's serving an 8-week ban. I don't think we've heard anything from Roger Goodell's investigation or the NFL's investigation that's going to get extended any longer. We haven't heard anything about the court cases that are happening aside from it was potentially going to end with a settlement and then that disappeared and then something else happened. So who knows about all that stuff? And by the way, that stuff is very serious and justice should be served in whatever happens in that particular case. We're just talking about Antonio Brown as a football player. After week 8, he's allowed back. He makes teams better immediately, but it has to be the right place, which is what everybody's saying or thinking.
Bruce Arians already said no to the idea of AB, but if you're him and you're looking at Seattle, a top competitor in the NFC, going to get him, do you think they'll throw their hat in the ring, especially because Brady wants him so bad?
How about this? I just got home from the NO. Michael Thomas tweaked his hamstring. Last week he was suspended. Before that he was hurt. What's going on down in New Orleans? Maybe Drew Brees, who very much loves the type of routes that Antonio Brown can run if he has to. That could be great for down there. I mean, it's any team that signs him gets better. Now, if everything works out well. Any team that signs Julio Jones gets better. There's guys out there. Odell Beckham, he has not said he wants to be traded. Nobody from Cleveland has said he's going to be traded, but everybody's saying he immediately makes teams better. There's a lot of things out here that could happen before this trade deadline that could be awesome when it comes to weapons for quarterbacks.
Yeah, are there people coming out against Antonio Brown haters saying you shouldn't sign him because of because he's a bad person?
Oh yeah.
Is there a big uproar? Normally, I would expect that to happen here.
I don't know how big the uproar is, and it'll probably get bigger, I assume, as he gets signed or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of people that do not want him on their team, I think, until he has 700 yards in one game.
Those people already.
Hey, I want to know the other teams that are interested though. Why is Seattle the only team that made it public?
That sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me, if I had to guess. And I got sent that tweet last night, I think, while we were traveling back from, just kicking the ass of NXT real quick. With Oni and Danny last night.
Oh, yeah. Oni!
Had to do what we had to do. The new NXT Tag Team Champions, Oni and Danny. While we were traveling home, I got that tweet, and I in the group text, and I immediately sent back, shout out to Schefter just stirring the pot there with saying Seattle Seahawks are definitely interested and other teams are interested too. It's Schefty, so you have an agreement with some teams that you won't say it's them, and then your agreement with Seattle Seahawks is it will be them. I would assume that when they reach out to Pete Carroll, he confirmed it. He said, yeah, we're in it or whatever. And I would assume Schefter tried to get more. By the way, anytime he talks about anything, I've learned this, he has multiple people telling him information. So I do not believe that Schefter would ever directly try to mislead somebody. I assume that he does know teams are involved in this. That's what Schefter does. But if you're Antonio Brown's team, you want people to think that there's numerous teams involved here as well. You want the thought, just like what Leonard Fournette did, that he was negotiating with the Patriots, which ultimately made the Tampa Bay Buccaneers deal get done. If Antonio Brown's team tells whoever, or by the way, I'm not saying Schefter got his information from Antonio Brown's team. I'm just saying if you're Antonio Brown's team, the way the message was sent by Schefter last night, you love that message because it not only says the Seattle Seahawks might have to pay a little bit more because they know there's competition, but also it's allowing a lot of teams to know that other teams think it's okay to sign him. So it's like a double good news for Antonio Brown's business side of this whole thing. What's up, Nick?
I would think if you're the 49ers, you want your hat in that ring because you're not only blocking him from going to Seattle, but you're making your receiving core that much better as well.
And they lost Emmanuel Sanders, right?
Yep. Yeah, they don't really have a true wide receiver.
Debo, dude, right?
Yeah, Debo. They drafted Brandon Ayuk in the first round, but
Kendrick Bourne,
they could definitely use him.
If I'm a team, I would want a lot of those guys on my team. But that's why I'm not a team. Matt Ryan, by the way, salary cap hit next year, $50 million. It's $49 million 330-some thousand or something along those lines, 50 million. Then the next year is like 40 million. Then the next year is 30 million. So it's more than $100 million in the next 3 years. It's so much money.
Man, his agent should get a trophy.
Yeah.
He was able to get that contract through.
As soon as we saw the number on the screen, we all went, good for Matt Ryan. Good for Matt Ryan here. They are on the hook. And that's going to be tough to get him to renegotiate. I wouldn't. If I'm Matt Ryan, I'm getting $100 million. And I know, well, maybe my best football is still ahead of me. And maybe it was Dan Quinn and whatever they had going on that was not making me play as great or win as many games. But boy, $100 million, that's a tough contract to pick up. I got some Falcons fan tweeted me and said, do you think the new GM would want to get rid of Matt and Julio? It's like, if you're a new GM and Matt Ryan is your dream quarterback to start your franchise with at 36 years of age and everything like that, you're in a great spot. But if you're a GM that could potentially have different visions of what you're going to do with your team and not have to take a $49 million hit to the salary cap, you would probably think differently. So I'm not saying 100%. If Matt Ryan was worth the exact same as other quarterbacks that could potentially get in there, I'm saying, yeah, you would keep Matt Ryan for whatever, if you loved him. But with the business side of this thing, plus with Matt Ryan being 36 years old, that seems damn near impossible at this point.
Yeah, but do you remember, Pat, when we had Tom Curran, Boston legend, on the show? He told us how he feels like if McDaniels could be on the move after this year and take a head coaching gig, what if he did go to Atlanta with Julio and Matt Ryan? He was like, that's a great setup for him. So I'm thinking, all right, what if you're Atlanta and you're thinking, well, we can't get rid of these dudes. What if we really want to court Josh McDaniels? And this is a big reason. We need to have Julio 100% here and most likely Matt Ryan, too, for him. Yeah,
there's other openings, right, that Josh McDaniels probably love. Houston, potentially.
There it is.
Depending on
Houston better than Atlanta?
I don't know. Atlanta's a great place. I understand. Houston also a great place. I mean, it's very spread out. I mean, that place, it's like.
Well, who knows what other gigs will be open, though.
True.
At the end of the year.
And Josh McDaniels still got the pull? Did you just go wherever the hell he wants? Like if he says, I want this coaching job, he gets it still? Because a couple years ago, he could do that. A couple years ago, I want this job, I'm going to get it. Ron Rivera could have did that this past offseason. I went to Washington football team job. We were like, why'd you want it? He was like, well, I talked to Dan Snyder. He also had a meeting with the president and everything like that. That whole thing happened. But it was very interesting to see how that. And also, Ron Rivera, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, what?
He said after meeting Dan Snyder, it was different than all the stories you heard about Dan Snyder when we talked to him at the Super Bowl about why he picked the Washington football team. And then there was like 2 exposés later that
turns out Dan Snyder is a piece of shit.
Well,
he's a used car salesman.
The people who are talking about
what were you going to say, though?
After the whole Colts debacle with McDaniels, our team's going to want to, put themselves in a PR position like that where he's flying out to Atlanta and then turning the plane back around and going to New England.
And also in Houston, they just had the New England Patriot thing. And other than Vrabel, I don't know, there's many that have come out of the Bill Belichick dynasty. You're like, you know what? Josh McDaniels is going to be a great head coach. I guess at Denver, he did win a playoff game against Pittsburgh Steelers with Tim Tebow as his quarterback, which was not a quarterback that he wanted, I don't think. I think everybody knows.
No.
Huh.
Something to think about.
Let's go to some phones here. Let's go to Steven down here in San Antonio. What's going on, Steven?
Big Steve. What's going on, Pat, man? What's up, boys? I got a question.
Okay.
So, why is it so hard for a punter to take a one-hopper back to him? We have issues our first. We got a special teams coordinator down here in San Antonio. And it's my first year, and we've had issues the first week of him taking one-hoppers back to him. How hard is that?
Great question. Did he ask why is it hard for punters to get one-hop snaps?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure we all heard the same thing there. He said he has a new special teams coordinator down there. Is that UTSA? Is that University of Texas San Antonio?
Sounded
believe
like
so.
it.
Sound like down there in San Antonio? San Antonio, good football city, by the way. Everybody's saying there should be an NFL team down there in San Antonio. I'm okay with that. I've never been to San Antonio, but would love to go down there for sure. The reason why a one-hopper to a punter is a nightmare is because rhythm is everything, right? So when you catch the ball, boom, okay, we're going to go, boom, we're going to go do that. Whenever you're playing fucking goalie and the ball comes, you have to get that, then you have to get reset, and you have to get this thing off in 2 seconds from snap to kick. So I think that is why, because you probably feel like you have to rush, you're out of your rhythm and everything like that. If you can get a good punt out of it, it makes you look very good in the film room, makes you look very good in the meeting room, but I would assume that's the case. It would be like middle of your golf swing. Okay, the ball just rolling off the tee and then just continuing the swing in the middle of it. That's kind of what it would be like because that's kind of the rhythm of the entire thing.
Shouldn't the goal be to find a better long snapper if this guy's routinely having problems with eating one-hoppers at punter?
I would say probably new long snapper there. But special teams coordinator is catching some heat down there in San Antonio. And I like that because San Antonio is a place that will hold these motherfuckers accountable.
Yep.
And that's what you need if you're going to be a good football city. AJ, were you a backup long snapper?
No, I was never the long snapper. Backup quarterback in high school, but never
What? How we just now learning about that? Because you guys ran the triple option.
I'm sure I told you. Yeah, we ran the triple a little bit, but then we started to spread it around a bit towards the end.
Do you have any passes at Centerville?
Yeah. I was playing tailback, but I'd be the backup quarterback. My brother was 2 years older than me. He was the starter, and then he graduated. Nugent was the quarterback my senior year. My junior year. No, my junior year, his senior year, Nuge was the quarterback. I was tailback. Senior year, I had to come in and play quarterback for a little bit after I got hurt.
With those big pads on?
How'd you guys do? Yeah, did you change your pads? Did you not have like those big braces you wore on your wrists?
Yeah,
the
shin guards. I never wore braces on my wrist. I mean, I wore a cast on my wrist after I had surgery, but I never wear those like strap-on braces.
Soft.
I threw the ball a little bit. I realized, all right, this position is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. Seeing how fast it is to try to read anything, and I'm like, I'm doing high school stuff, and I'm just realizing how fast it is and how quick you have to make decisions. That's why I think I ran for 200 yards my first game as a quarterback. I didn't want to throw. I couldn't throw. I was firing the ball off dudes' shoulder pads, off their heads.
Is that why you tried to crack Herb Street's skull? You were jealous?
No, and also, quick question. You ran for 200 yards. The next week, I assume they had a spy on you. That's what Danny Dimes going to do tonight against Philadelphia Eagles. You got no hope tonight, Paul.
Hey, if Danny Dimes beats the Eagles tonight with his legs, then good. More power to him. You deserve to win, bud. If you don't have to put the ball in the air to win the game, if you can do that, then the Eagles don't deserve to win.
You got to remember, dude, Joe Judge is hopping on fumbles in training camp.
Okay? In the mud.
In the mud.
And it was wet, too.
And they celebrated. Not because they wanted a job and make the team, but because they love Joe Judge.
Yeah. Buying in.
People forget. Let's go to
Kim Jong-un. People fake crying at his funeral. Is that what they're doing?
I think at training camp, you would see a large group of people fake congratulating the head coach if they're trying to make the team. I was
full energy.
And if you got to end practice 10 minutes early, you would definitely be pumping them up.
Okay, coach, you get the fumble. We end. Okay, here we go. Get out of here, coach.
Joe.
Oh, shortened meetings tonight too. Okay, here we go. Get that ball, coach. Oh, spray some water on it, make it hard for him. I mean, oh my God, I can see why coaches hated me. By the way, now that I'm thinking about it, just stirring the pot at all times. Parker in North Carolina, what's going on, bub?
What's going on? If I talk, damn. What's going on, Pat and the boys and AJ?
That guy has tongue.
Hey, are you a politician down there in North Carolina?
That's what it sounds like, huh?
No, you didn't deserve that. But I appreciate the fact that you got the reference. I appreciate you. It happens to all of us. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Yeah, hey, I loved seeing you on NXT last night. It seemed, I don't want to speculate, it seemed like your little manager role there. Get your Jimmy Hart on. I want to know if you've got any influences. Who's your all-time favorite wrestler manager?
Great question. Bobby the Brain Heenan would be the guy that I think I look up to the most whenever it comes to the manager role, because he was just a Swiss Army knife. The guy could bump if he had to. He was a commentator. He was an incredible manager. And he and Mr. Perfect were a tag team that video clips still get used to this day because of how awesome he was. Jimmy the Heart, obviously, loud man. The Mouth of the South. I was a big fan of his. But whenever you talk about me talking, I think you have to look at two humans in wrestling and circle them, and you could probably notice it as soon as I say it. The Rock and Stone Cold, I think, taught me how to speak. I think they're the ones that taught me how to speak. So I think those are probably my biggest influencers whenever it comes to probably the way I speak. And then D-Generation X, you throw them in there for my personality as well. I think the wrestling really shaped me a lot more than a lot of people probably give it credit to. And I think those three, both entities and two humans now, full-blown entities, would be the three that potentially put me together. You know what I mean?
I do. I thought Jimmy Hart-on was going to be your favorite manager.
That was very interesting that he said it that way, because he kind of pissed on Jimmy Hart's entire legacy there by referring to him basically being a boner there. I didn't like that. That was rude.
It was.
That was very rude.
Disrespectful.
Jake the Snake Roberts right now is acting as a manager for some people. A lot of old guys are acting as managers, talking and stuff like that.
Snake's back.
I would like it to be known, I am very comfortable saying that there's not a lot of people that can touch me on a motherfucking microphone. And I know it, and I think everybody else knows it. And that's a good spot to be in the professional wrestling business.
Yeah.
That's a good spot to be in. Let's go to the phones once again. Let's go to Evan in Buffalo. What's going on, Evan? Buffalo is the home of the greatest SmackDown in the history of SmackDowns, November 1st, 2019.
Hey, what's going on, Pat? Mr. AJ Hawk and the boys. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? What do you want to talk about, Evan?
Hey, well, so since there's no in-person games here in Buffalo, we're taking me and my girlfriend are taking a trip down to Indy to see the Packers and the the Colts play some of the football. What travel tips do you have? What do we got to do? What do we got to see down there in Indy?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Swing by, hey, he's got to swing by Pat McAfee Inc. first, right? Give him the address. I got it. Hey, get his info, Zeke. I'll text the guy the address. Give him some merch, Pat. I got you, buddy. I don't know your name, but I got you.
You son of a bitch.
AJ, you dog, you.
Sting's Evan in Buffalo, okay? The guy's just trying to have a good football weekend.
Good football weekend.
Okay? The guy's just trying because New York, the state of New York, completely locked down.
Yeah.
Buffalo, much different world than New York City, by the way.
True.
Still locked down, got nothing up there. I mean, that's like, I think, a 10-hour drive or something.
Oh, yeah.
How long is that drive?
I think 7.5.
From New York City to Buffalo, it's 9 hours.
That is so far.
Indy to Buffalo, I thought.
That is so far. We have vacation in Buffalo, so you would know that. But I'm talking about New York City to Buffalo. It is so far away. Same laws, though, because it's the same state.
It's like driving into a different country.
Yeah, it's very different. There's farmland up there, everything like that. Yeah, and they got no fans in the stands. And I was like, oh, Buffalo. I would assume Bills Mafia is not thrilled about the way this whole thing is going. But now, making the most of it, driving down here to Indianapolis, I think we have 10,000 fans in the next game. It was originally 250.
Bumping it up.
I think so, yeah. I think they're bumping it up each time.
Bump it up.
We did hear from somebody in the NFL. I was going to say what team they're from, but I won't. We heard from somebody in the NFL. The no preseason thing, although it didn't help the football or whatever, like football side, doesn't seem like it really was missed that much, except for maybe if you look at like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers and some offenses catching. But the beginning of the season is always kind of like that for people. Was it exaggerated a little bit more? I would assume so. But for the stadiums to be able to test their protocols with people going into the stands, coming out of the stands, watching a game, going into the stadium, exiting the stadium, they thought that there was a chance that the preseason would have been a good opportunity for them to test the protocols, what works, what doesn't work. So I think a lot of teams were trying to figure it out as they go, and I think for the Colts, the number has been going up. They've been getting a little bit more comfortable with it. I think that's been happening in a lot of places. But these places that have had zero, at some point they're going to open up a little bit, and they're going to have to go through the same exact thing that all these teams are doing. They're going to be like a month behind or whatever.
Yeah, they got to be sitting there like trying to stay in contact with all the rest of the people that run the stadiums around the NFL. And hey, what do I need when we finally do let people in? What are the biggest, what are the issues you had? It would not be a fun gig.
Yeah, let's go to Lee Battle in Starkville. What's going on, Lee Battle? Great name.
Cuzzy, boys, Mr. Hawk, how we doing down there?
Hey, great to hear you back on here, Lee Battle. What do you want to talk about, pal?
Man, so Cuzzy, when you and Ryan Clark were on ESPN a few weeks ago, he said like Patrick Mahomes was like a Ferrari, Lamborghini, and then he said Dak was like a Honda Pilot. Don't you think, and especially after Monday night, Dak's at least like a Lexus GX or
I should have let him continue to go and rattle off whatever other cars he had in that particular genre of car there. The Lexus GX, and I would assume he would have maybe bumped over to like a Beamer, maybe like a lower end Beamer or something like that. That's on me, Lee Battle. I appreciate your phone calls every time you call in. Whenever he called Dak a Honda Pilot, I was very intrigued by it as well. He basically said it was a compliment, and he said, well, get you where you need to go and everything like that. But Patrick Mahomes right now with all his weapons, and it made a lot of sense to me. But I thought that was quite a shot at Dak Prescott. He was going to break a record. Obviously, he ends up getting injured in a terrible fashion. He's out for the season. Team looks terrible now without him for one game against the Arizona Cardinals in primetime television. So I think his stock is definitely raised in the eyes of Cowboys fans. Like this guy, even though we were losing games, he was at least keeping us alive in those things. It's just now the whole conversation is going to revolve around how are they going to go from here? Are they going to completely try to rebuild that thing? Because they got a cesspool of a locker room, it feels like, with all this shit getting leaked. I mean, Big Mike has a tall task on his hand. I think Dak Prescott will make-G-Wagon money at some point, okay? I think he will make I don't want to call him a Lambo because I don't think he's a Lambo. I think he's tougher than that. Okay, maybe a Porsche,
Jeep
but
Wrangler.
Whoa! See, so you just said Honda Pilot about Dak. I think Dak will get paid at some point, but it might not be with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it is really almost a conversation at this point where it might not be at the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, both Dak's in a weird spot, a very unfortunate spot, and the Cowboys are kind of in a weird spot too. I'm sure they're torn. Like, hey, we want to take care of our guy. We want to do right by him and all he's done for this franchise, but they have to be a little bit worried and scared. Like, hey, we don't want to do something that could put us 5 years. Like, we have another 5 years. Like, they don't want to be put in a situation like the Falcons where you might want to move on and you're still locked in $50 million to one dude or something.
Bro, 115 or 130.
So what happens if they cut him? How much do they owe him if they cut him?
113 million, I think.
So much. There's no way that's all guaranteed still, really?
I guess there's opt-outs and everything like that, but we have the screenshot of
this guy's the best. Who was his agent again?
Wow, he's the greatest human on earth. I don't know who he is, but this is a backloaded deal, and it feels like the backloads were guarantees. It is.
Usually they want to backload it so then they're not on the hook for all that money. They can get rid of you. That's why, man, we might have to have Andrew Brand on here one day just to break down the contract.
By the way, Business of Sport host right there, Vice President of Vayner Sports Media. Great job by you right there with that plug for our guy, Andrew Brand.
Wow. Well done,
Great
Way to go, AJ.
Do we have the picture of the contract in here? Do we have the Matt Ryan contract, the whole salary cap thing? Because if we could pull that thing up... AJ, when we put it up during a commercial break and we looked at it, it was worse than we thought it was. Because every time I say $40 million is owed to him, who's going to want to trade for that? I feel like we're the only people talking. Oh, boy.
Oh, gee.
I mean, that is. Can you go full screen on that thing?
Oh.
There it is.
Here we go.
Okay, so 2021 cap hit $40.9 million. Okay, 2022 cap hit $41.6625 million. 2023 cap hit $36.61 million. Cap hit means that's what they have to pay him, right? Is that what that is? Dead cap space, 2021, if he's not there, $49.9 million. Then 2022, it's at 26.5, and then it's down to 8.6. So they could cut him, and next year just have to eat $50 million, and then in 2022 eat $26.5 million, and then in 2023 have a little bit of freedom with only $8.6 million being wasted instead of like maybe 8 other players. So that is a tough thing. That is a tough trade, I would assume at this point if you're Matt Ryan. That is just a tough spot for the Falcons.
That's an impossible trade. Who's going to take that on can you split his salary somehow if you're the other team?
Well, Matt Ryan would have to restructure that, and you would think that the restructure would be like $20 million less a year. And if you're Matt Ryan, are you agreeing to that? No way. No way am I agreeing to that.
They're in a bad spot, man. If you're the GM, that's when you say you want to, like earlier in the show, you said, I want to win today, right now. Yeah, I would too if I was a GM. I guess the great ones figure out, okay, we're going to win today, but I'm going to find a way to set us up in the future without hurting today.
What's up, Diggs?
So when you click on into the details there, if you trade him this season, your dead cap for next season is still $44 million.
Oh, so even if you trade him, even if you get rid of that money.
Jesus.
The year after that, though, it's only $26 million in dead cap.
Okay, so that's a bad spot. We're wrapping up the show here. Thursday Night Football Mega Bowl Zito. What does the poll say? Who should we be betting? AJ has the Eagles -4.5. We all, I think, I'm not going with everybody, but I think we all have the Giants +4.5 tonight on this Mega Bowl. What do the people say?
Straight up.
For tonight, Giants +4.5, 36.4%. Eagles -4.5, 63.6%.
Do you feel like this particular poll, the big old poll that you have on the internet with over 11,500 votes, do you think that this is an accurate poll? Do you think this is?
This is pretty accurate, I think.
So you're saying you like the Giants?
I do like the Giants.
Okay. Here
the cookie crumbles.
Wow.
What do you mean an accurate poll?
Well, it says the Eagles -4.5 is the poll.
What's funny about his 64?
So I just literally got you to go against you.
What do you mean?
I very easily got you to go against the poll there. You said, yeah, the Giants, and they only got...
I do like the Giants.
Okay, so the poll's wrong then.
Oh, no, the people are right.
Well, the people
are always
say
right.
Eagles.
No, the people are right. I'm wrong, but it's fine.
No.
We love the Giants.
Wait, hold on. I have a question. Is there a little bit of controversy between you and the poll?
Well, me and the poll are sometimes separate.
Oh.
It's ran by the people and for the people.
By the Zito.
Yes.
I respect it. What's up?
64% of the people picking the Eagles right there. 64% of the tickets are also on the Eagles.
Oh, no. That means the Giants are definitely going to win. This is awesome news. Hammered Down will come in at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. This hasn't been a bad Thursday, October 22nd.
No. Awesome.
Today's show is brought to you by the good people at Thursday Boot Company, a bootstrap startup that makes the best handcrafted boots and sells them direct to consumer at some of the lowest markups in the history of the footwear industry. Thursday Boots' tagline is highest quality, honest prices, because they use some of the best materials like full grain leather,
supple glove leather lining, gold standard Goodyear welt construction.
Wow. Yeah.
Just like the legacy brands that charge $400 or more plus for similar styles. Thursday Boot Company sells their boots at prices starting at just $149 with free shipping and free returns.
Oh my God.
It's $251 in savings just for that particular example that we are reading about right now. Because of the great designs, quality, and great value, Thursday Boot Company has been featured in all the best fashion press. You can see AJ and Thursday Boot Company in Esquire, what? GQ, what? Cosmo, what? And Vogue. And more importantly, they've gotten over 20,000 five-star reviews from real customers. Handcrafted with the highest quality materials to be comfortable, versatile, and durable, Thursday boots are perfect for people who understand quality and don't want to pay a high retail markup. Go to ThursdayBoots.com and you'll get free shipping and free returns. They don't do sales or discounts. Head on over there right now. Got about 20 seconds left in the entire show. AJ, anything to say?
Playoff atmosphere tonight. Giants, Eagles. I can't wait.
Whoever wins is on the road to winning the NFC East. The Mega Bowl will be talked about tomorrow. The judge, Steve Torrey, is next here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Hey, you have a great one.
Hey, see you, man.
Have a great one. Have a great one.
No!
You have the best one. All right.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right, we'll talk tomorrow, man. All right, dude.
Now.
All right, let's go to let's answer these phone calls here. You went directly against your polar earlier, by the way, just like a minute and a half ago.
I don't remember that.
Hey, I never said that. Let's go to Bailey in Missouri. What's going on, Bailey?
Hey, Pat, how's it going? How you the boys doing?
Hey, not too shabby here on this Thursday. How are you, bub?
I'm doing good.
I need a haircut.
Hey, so I got a question for you. I'm a big Green Bay guy, big Aaron Rodgers fan, so shout out to AJ and Ty. Last time Aaron Rodgers played in Houston in 2012, he threw 6 tutties. How many do you think he's going to throw Sunday? I think he's going to have a good bounce back.
Great question, Bailey. It does seem like the past records indicate that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a massive game. That is, I think last year they lost 38-8 coming off the bye week, and then they just rattled off this run where they went for it. Aaron Rodgers seems like a guy, and he was not happy, I guess, with local media yesterday. I was getting sent videos or something like that. Something happened in the local media scrum on the Zoom. I don't know. He gave somebody a short answer or something. I don't know. The internet was telling me that he was not in a good mood in that thing. It feels like this is a perfect game for Aaron Rodgers to throw for maybe 600-700 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I never like putting numbers on it, but, you know, I mean, he might go out there and throw for 800 yards and like 7 touchdowns. I think it's very possible.
People are saying there's a chance he goes for like 900 yards and
like
one
10
game.
touchdowns.
It's crazy that he could do that.
They might score 130 points on Sunday.
People are saying in the first quarter maybe even. And then in the second half just kind of have to run it out with Aaron Jones, which is a different part of the offense, win by 120 or so. AJ, how do you think the weekend's going to go for our guy Aaron? And did you see all the reports that the media thing was a negative little run yesterday for Aaron Rodgers?
I didn't see all the negative things. I don't know what happened. Sounds like you don't fully know exactly what went on either.
That'd be a good read on the situation there. That'd be a very good read. That'd be a very good read on the situation.
I think you were just fishing me for some info. That's all. You thought you were hoping I saw the clips.
Well, I saw quotes, so I didn't actually see the clips. I saw quotes, and I was like, okay, AJ will know what this is because AJ has seen clips on the internet that nobody else knows exist. I mean, he's maybe deeper in the internet than anybody else. But I guess yesterday he said something. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I didn't see the video either. The question was, like, one of the beat reporters asked, like, what's it like now that, like, the defenses have basically figured you guys out? And he said 1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
Next question.
Hey, and you know what happened? Like, it was such a one-off game on their performance. Aaron threw 2 picks in 3 attempts. Like that. Do you think that'll ever happen again in his life?
Right.
Well, we do. I mean, people were asking. He did.
I don't think that'll happen again.
He did.
Oh,
jeez.
Where's Mitt? Get your head down there.
No, stop it. He did do 3 pumps there. You know what I mean? So he said there's no correlation, obviously, of football gods or anything when celebrating. I agree. I'm a celebrating guy. I'm just relaying the message that some people are saying about the Hingle McCringleberry ode and tribute that he did. I just think sometimes you have an off game. And there was no expectation of them going undefeated, right? Even when we set up Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, there was no like, okay, he's going to go undefeated. We're going to talk to him. And it's always going to be good. It's like that happens in the game. And he's a guy that is a chip-on-the-shoulder guy. And it feels like now would be a good time to potentially chomp that son of a bitch. And it feels like that is going to happen this weekend with the old AA Ron.
Yeah, I can see him throwing throwing a quiet 4 touchdowns. Like he just made it look very easy. Like it's set up to be one of those days.
That's every game, by the way.
Yeah.
It feels like that is how, like somehow you look at his stats and it'll be middle of the third quarter and it's like, oh, he's 22 of 26 and he has like 220 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's like, God damn, I didn't even know. Did that happen right in front of me?
Wow.
Yeah, it did. Because he's like Bob Ross painting that son of a bitch.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm very excited for Sunday. Very excited for Sunday.
All right, AJ, this show stunk. It wasn't your fault though. It was ours.
Sounds good.
Sorry,
Oh,
I had a good time. I enjoyed my time on here.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. That mask, I just don't understand why that mask.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
There's so many bigger and different masks than that.
But look at how cool that one is.
AJ, you have no idea how big my
That's
head
not a
is.
mask, though.
Yeah,
it's not a
it is.
mask. You
It's
can't
covering
see.
his face.
You can't see or breathe. You can only hear.
Fucking man in the
All
eye.
right, well, define a
Will you
mask then.
fucking Google what a mask is? And by the way, Yahoo it too, because I guess Google's getting sued for being the only search engine. So you could Yahoo it as well. You know what I mean?
Bing that thing.
Ask Jeeves.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Tell me a situation where that mask would be beneficial to wear.
COVID.
Halloween.
when you're trying to hide your face.
Yeah, that thing is sick.
I can see.
You can? Show me how.
I don't know how I'm supposed to.
You want me to throw something to you?
show you.
You want me to throw something to you?
Is there any holes in there?
Huh?
Watch.
Hold up some fingers.
I did not see that. I did not see that. It is a little bit blurry. Yeah, do that one.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah, excuse me. Come on.
Oh, what?
Oh, okay.
What?
Wait, you can see through that thing?
It's a two-way mirror. It's a two-way mirror, dude.
Good God.
I thought it was a real one. I thought it was steel.
And that's
piece of
why
metal.
it is such a good mask.
It's a good mask.
You're welcome. Excuse me. They're selling Pat McAfee masks all over the country right now at Halloween.
Obviously, AJ's never interrogated someone.
I don't know if you're even allowed to do Halloween or dress up this year or whatever, but if you do and you dress up as Pat McAfee with this mask right here, you enter in to win at least, I don't know, $120 or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Take a picture. Use hashtag #MyMcAfee What is that from, though? I have no idea.
It looks like the Man in the Iron Mask a little bit. If you put some eye slits in there.
Silver Surfer from Fantastic
Looks like
Four.
Destro from G.I. Joe.
Is he awesome or not?
No.
It was on immediately after your appearance, though.
Yeah, they had to push G.I. Joe's back.
They, did they really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's tough. They, there's a lot of people saying it looked like a cup on my face last night as well because it was slowly riding up like this and with the hood over top.
Cups will do that.
It did that, but it's not.
It's a good mask.
It's the greatest mask in history.
Yeah.
dude.
Shout out to the guy that's going to wear that as a cup.
It's a good mask. I just don't
Big
understand.
shout out to that guy.
I don't understand the decision. Like, what went behind picking that mask? I understand you needed to hide your identity.
So there was options, okay? There was options.
Yeah.
Okay, do I want to be a Jabberwocky? No.
Oh, that'd be good.
Okay, do I want to be a...
Jack already did
it. Like, I don't want to do that.
No.
Okay? Do I want to just be like a skeleton face? No. I've never seen this one before, so that's why I went with it.
Hey, good for you. I was very confused when I saw the screenshot of it. In that, I'm like, what? That's the first thing I thought of. Why is he wearing a steel cup? I didn't think it was a cup. It did look like a cup. I knew it wasn't, but I'm like,
I mean,
just a
I think
unique,
I know.
decision.
So you don't understand art. All right.
You're right.
He just wants you to wear a hawk mask. That's what it is.
I would have, by the way, if that. Maybe we didn't prepare well enough for the mask time either that we had. You know what I mean?
That one's awesome. I don't know. Don't let AJ sway you now.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him. He has no shit. He picked the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, you could have just maybe you should have ordered the XL instead of the medium.
All right.
Oh, come on.
That's the show.
Oh, come on, AJ.
Hammer
I need
Downs
a
and
double. I have a big old head and face.
yeah, me too. That's why I never wear masks. This was honestly one of the first times I ever put a mask on. I enjoyed it. It was a memorable moment. Now you're just dumping all over it. It's unbelievable what you just did. Don't say it. Okay, 26 minutes, Hammer Don. Tell some friends. Come win some money with us. We'll see you then. AJ, thank you for today. You're awesome. That's the show.